Li Mei's Sword of Destiny. Chapter 1425. Qin Wentian continued forward, moving towards the demon god mountain that towered into the sky. There seemed to be an ancient silhouette engraved on the surface of the demon god mountain. It was none other than the silhouette of an ancient demon god. His body stood there. The peak of the demon god mountain was like an incarnation of his body. With just a single glance, one could feel a supreme might exuding from him. Demon god, what race is he? Qin Wentian silently mused as he continued forward. Halt! A cold voice rang out from behind him. Qin Wentian's steps halted as a tyrannical aura enveloped him. He turned his head and saw an extremely powerful Forok staring at him. That Forok coldly spoke. You are a human, not a demon. You don't have the qualifications to enter the demon god mountain. Right now, Qin Wentian was still in the form of a great rock. He could see many experts staring at him, including the human Wu Xiu. These people who could enter the demon god mountain were all extraordinary. Clearly, they already knew that he was the human Wu Xiu, and not a demonic beast in disguise. The Southern Phoenix matriarch also entered. Her eyes flickered with a smile. This fellow truly caused everyone to be shocked. No wonder Chongqing the Great would favor him so much. Chongqing himself didn't manage to reach this step. Yet Qin Wentian managed to do so. Naturally, this also had something to do with one's cultivation level. This was a test set up for demonic beasts. Demonic beasts had a greater advantage. Those with stronger bodies would have a greater advantage compared to those with weaker bodies. It's you. Princess Kitamura stared at Qin Wentian. Before this, she had already guessed who Qin Wentian was. Little rascal was simply too obvious. When the two of them joined forces, Princess Kitamura recalled the incident back then in the city of ancient emperors. That golden demonic beast beside him was none other than the demonic beast who snatched her inheritance. Qin Wentian's eyes gleamed with sharpness. After that, he reverted to his original form, transforming into Qin Wentian. The demon god mountain is a sacred ground. Since I'm already here, it means that I have the qualifications to obtain everything here. His eyes stared at that expert from the Forok race as he calmly spoke. After that, he turned to Princess Kitamura. Yuhuang, I didn't expect that we would meet again so soon. Our fate seems to be destined. You. Princess Kitamura's body was filled with coldness. This bastard always teased her. It was simply outrageous. The Southern Phoenix matriarch had an expression of interest on her face. She smiled. Little brat, you are truly audacious. You even dare to tease Princess Yuhuang, who is doted on by the Dark North Immortal Emperor? Princess Kitamura had an awkward expression on her face when she heard the Southern Phoenix matriarch's words. However, the Southern Phoenix matriarch's status was extraordinary, and it wasn't her place to say anything. Qin Wentian bowed to the Southern Phoenix matriarch. Qin Wentian pays his respects to the Southern Phoenix matriarch. You're welcome. The Southern Phoenix matriarch smiled and nodded. Evergreen and Thousand Transformations both regard you so highly. As expected, you are extraordinary. You always cause trouble everywhere you go. That last Yunqi most probably can't forget you and dared to antagonize Princess Yuhuang again. Southern Phoenix matriarch, Princess Yuhuang and I are truly old acquaintances. Our fates are extremely deep and we can even be said to be inseparable. Qin Wentian shamelessly spoke. Princess Kitamura's aura grew even colder as the aura of the Dark North Immortal Emperor gushed forth. What a glib tongue! Princess Kitamura coldly spoke. Yuhuang, I understand your misunderstanding of me. Back then I had no choice but to. You are not allowed to speak. Princess Kitamura saw that Qin Wentian was about to speak of what happened in the royal palace and immediately interrupted him. Fine, I won't speak of it. I just want to tell you that there's no need for you to view me with hatred. Qin Wentian shrugged. How leisurely and carefree. A powerful demon emperor coldly laughed. His eyes gleamed with coldness. The Southern Phoenix matriarch was acquainted with Qin Wentian. It wasn't realistic for her to act against these humans. However, this place was the peak of the demon god mountain, the inheritance of the demon gods. These humans wouldn't be able to obtain anything from this place. On the walls of the palaces, the inheritances of the various demon races were engraved. With a flash of their silhouettes, many supreme greater demons flew towards the statue. Resplendent light cascaded down from the statue, exuding an unfathomable aura. They wanted to see what it was exactly. "Little fellows, you guys can go too." The Southern Phoenix matriarch spoke to Qin Wentian and the others. "Many thanks, Southern Phoenix matriarch." Qin Wentian bowed to the Southern Phoenix matriarch. Luckily, the Southern Phoenix matriarch also came here. If not, these demons wouldn't give up. They didn't want to see humans entering the sacred ground of the demon race. "This Baobao is going too." Little rascal flew towards the demonic divinity, arriving at the foot of the demon god mountain. In an instant, the light from the demon god mountain cascaded down, bathing little rascal. The light that cascaded down was like the light of a demon god, containing boundless mysteries of the great Tao as it seeped into little rascal's body. Very swiftly, little rascal closed his eyes, as though he was enjoying this feeling very much. Not only for him, Qin Wentian and the other experts who arrived at the foot of the demon god mountain all closed their eyes as well, feeling the light cascading down. In their bodies, their blood thrummed as demonic qi gushed forth, wanting to rush out ferociously. "Purgatory, you should go too." Qin Wentian spoke. Imogen Purgatory nodded. With a long cry, she flew over. Qin Wentian smiled. He lifted his feet and walked towards the foot of the demon god mountain, bathing in the light of the demon god. Within the light, there seemed to be an incomparably mystical energy within, faintly resonating with the power of his bloodline. Rumbling sounds rang out from within his body as his demonic blood began to boil. He closed his eyes and quietly sensed the flow of this energy. At this moment, it was as though he could see his own bloodline even more clearly than before. The rumbling sounds grew louder and louder. His bloodline was stimulated bit by bit, like a tsunami crashing against the shore, unceasingly battering his bones. The boundless light seeped into Qin Wentian's body, entering Qin Wentian's bloodline, causing Qin Wentian to feel that this energy could faintly cause the bloodline of demonic beasts to evolve. The Southern Phoenix matriarch didn't move forward. She stood there quietly, her beautiful figure casually standing there, bathing in the divine light. As the matriarch of the Namhuang clan, there was nothing that could cause her to waver. Hence, even in such an environment, she could still make her emotions incomparably calm. She quietly watched, feeling the light cascading down from the demon god mountain. She slowly walked up and stretched her hand out, feeling that mystical energy. Inclining her head, her beautiful face was solemn as she stared at the sky. A smile appeared on her face, so beautiful that it could cause one's soul to tremble. Most probably in this world, very few people would be able to see such a smile on the Southern Phoenix matriarch's face. It was very difficult for them to admire her beauty. "This is a divine miracle." The Southern Phoenix matriarch smiled and sighed. When she came here, she didn't place too much hope in obtaining the demon god's inheritance. Although she had the Phoenix bloodline, she was ultimately still a human Wuxiu. She just wanted to see if the #1 legend of the Desolate Mountains, the Demon God Mountain, truly had such an existence. And right now, her thoughts were verified. The Southern Phoenix matriarch closed her beautiful eyes and quietly stood there, quietly feeling the light of the divine miracle. She didn't care about the transformation of a greater demon, the awakening of a supreme bloodline of a greater demon, or the evolution of a greater demon. Right now, the only thing she cared about was this divine miracle. Time slowly flowed by. The human Wu Xiu who stepped into the Demon God Mountain could also sense this energy. Sometimes, he would stand in front of the mountain rampart and stare at the inheritances of the greater demons. Occasionally, he would see the greater demons that bathed in the light of the Demon God Mountain transforming. The demonic qi radiating from them grew stronger, and their bloodlines grew stronger. They knew that for greater demons who reached this step and bathed in the light of the divine miracle, they would undergo an ultimate transformation. They would awaken all sorts of hidden innate abilities and become even more terrifying. Purgatory was undergoing a transformation. The purgatory flames around her grew even more intense as her body became more crystalline and translucent. Little Rascal was also undergoing a transformation. His entire body circulated with a resplendent golden light as a king's aura gushed forth from him. That golden king's light seemed to be able to ignite the flames. Qin Wentian was also transforming. His bloodline seemed to be burning as an incomparably dazzling divine light circulated around him. It was as bright as fire and as fresh as blood. The shadow of a king from the supreme ancient immortal realms appeared. This was none other than Qin Wentian himself. This shadow seemed to be burning, like a guardian divinity, protecting Qin Wentian's body. Qin Wentian gradually fused together with the power of his bloodline that he once couldn't control. His aura soared madly. However, his bloodline had no way to evolve. It was like the power of the divine miracle wasn't sufficient to allow his bloodline to evolve. It could only stimulate the power of his bloodline. So it turns out that the abilities I've been searching for were all derived from the innate abilities of my bloodline. Qin Wentian silently mused. He opened his eyes as an incomparably intense blood-colored light radiated from them. He still stood there, not moving an inch. However, his aura seemed to have changed, becoming even more extraordinary, akin to a king born from the heavens. Innate bloodline, innate ability, burning transformation. Qin Wentian silently mused. This wasn't a name he came up with himself. It was a name given to him by his bloodline. Many powerful saint beasts and greater demons all had innate bloodline, innate abilities. In fact, there were even some greater demons who had more than one bloodline innate ability. They could awaken their innate abilities as they grew stronger, evolving and transforming. And now, Qin Wentian discovered that he, who had an extremely powerful demonic bloodline, also possessed an innate bloodline innate ability. The burning transformation was a bloodline innate ability. It could ignite the power of one's bloodline, strengthening the strength of one's body and increasing the strength of one's attacks. At the very least, it could be doubled. Based on what Qin Wentian felt now, if he were to undergo the burning transformation, his strength would definitely be more than doubled. Secondly, when his defense grew stronger, he would be able to transform into a powerful bloodline protection. This bloodline protection was in the form of himself, yet it could transform into all sorts of demonic beasts. If he unleashed the innate abilities of the demonic beasts, the might of the innate abilities would be even more terrifying, far surpassing the amplification effect brought by the burning transformation. After knowing the power bestowed upon him by his bloodline, Qin Wentian understood that the powers he had activated in the past were merely in the embryonic form. The innate abilities of his bloodline had yet to take form. Chapter 1426. Qin Wentian was in no hurry to leave. He glanced at the experts in the surroundings. The transformation of the powerful human, Wu Xiao, wasn't that obvious, but those greater demons had truly undergone a transformation, becoming even more terrifying. As experts of the demonic race, these greater demons would definitely evolve to an extremely powerful level, after bathing in the radiance of the demon god mountain. In the future, the greater demons that walked out from here would all become competitors for the throne of the desolate mountains. In the legends, the demon god mountain was a sign of the birth of a demon god. It was similar to how the Tiandao Sacred Academy symbolized the era of ancient emperors. Regardless of the immortal realms or the desolate mountains, both were welcoming an era of transcendence. Purgatory and Little Rascal were also transforming. Upon seeing their transformations, Qin Wentian couldn't help but to smile. This was especially so for Little Rascal. That snow-white little fellow was now covered in a golden hue. His entire body exuded an aura of supremacy, and although his body wasn't as large as many demonic beasts, he gave off a feeling of perfection. Strands of heaven-devouring intent radiated from him. Not far away, he saw a beautiful figure bathing in the demonic radiance. She was like a goddess from the 9 heavens, incomparably holy and inviolable. That was none other than the Southern Phoenix matriarch. Even someone as powerful as her was also sensing the demonic radiance, attentively comprehending it. At the Southern Phoenix matriarch's level, what she pursued most probably was that illusory miraculous miracle. She herself already stood at the peak of the immortal realms. Qin Wentian closed his eyes as he continued to sense the sensation of the demonic light seeping into his bloodline. Sadly, this surge of energy was still unable to allow him to truly control his bloodline. That bloodline was still as illusory as before. Although he was able to borrow some of the energy from the demonic god's bloodline, it was still as pure as before. After the first true awakening of his demon blood, in addition to the permeation of the demon god's radiance, Qin Wentian's bloodline started to refine his muscles and bones. The bones in his body were now glowing with a brilliant light, like runic bones, containing a wondrous amount of energy. His bloodline and body underwent the baptism, growing stronger and stronger. His comprehension of law energy also grew deeper. At the foot of the demon god mountain, all energy was no longer suppressed. He could better sense and comprehend. Many experts were also immersed in this wondrous state. In the blink of an eye, a year had already passed since the demon god mountain was opened. During this year, even more greater demons and humans of the desolate mountains appeared. But even so, only a few experts managed to enter the demon god mountain. Evidently, it was an extremely difficult thing to reach here. The desolate mountains were shaken. The immortal realms were shaken as well. Everyone faintly felt some worry. This time, the demons of the desolate mountains were advancing and retreating, causing the desolate mountains to grow even more terrifying. If they attacked the immortal realms, it would surely be a calamity. In the past, the people of the immortal realms didn't have a deep impression of the desolate mountains. They only knew that in the extreme north of the immortal realms, there was a boundlessly vast desolate region. That place was a paradise for demonic beasts. But during this year, all sorts of rumors regarding the desolate mountains were circulated to the immortal realms. The people of the immortal realms all knew about those powerful greater demons. There were many people saying that the strength of the desolate mountains surpassed the immortal realms. Those greater demons of the desolate mountains were even more terrifying compared to the peak powers of the immortal realms. After several months passed, the third eye in the center of Qin Wentian's brows suddenly opened, shooting out a terrifying beam of demonic light. In an instant, a destructive domain appeared, filled with destructive light. Each beam of light was as sharp as swords. The third eye closed and dissipated. Qin Wentian's eyes open, gleaming with a bright light. The innate ability of the evil god race. As expected, I can also cultivate it. Borrowing the power of my bloodline, I actually managed to form a second law domain. My first law domain is God's hand. My second law domain is the evil eye domain. Qin Wentian silently mused. He could still continue to perfect his evil eye domain, making it even stronger, becoming a supreme attack technique of his. You have the bloodline of a greater demon in your body? A cold voice drifted over, sounding exceptionally melodious. Qin Wentian saw an extremely beautiful face. He smiled. Yep, if not, why would I come here? Yuhuang, what are you doing here? Although the demon god mountain is a divine ground for demonic beasts, there are still many good things about it. The shadows of the greater demons on the ramparts are similar to those of the demon god mountain. In fact, they can even transmit the innate techniques and arts of the demonic beasts. Even humans would be able to gain many insights from them. Princess Kitamura calmly spoke. From her attitude, it seemed that she didn't have too much of a grudge against Qin Wentian. Maybe after being teased by Qin Wentian so many times, she had already gotten used to it. Even Senior Phoenix Matriarch is meditating here. From this, one can see how extraordinary this place is. Although we are far from the Phoenix Matriarch, we should still cherish this rare opportunity. Qin Wentian nodded. Yuhuang, let's not bother about the misunderstanding between us. Although you are considered my senior, because of the good fortune we shared in the Dark North Immortal Mountain, I can feel a sense of closeness between us. There's no need to be respectful to me as a junior, you can just call me Wentian. Shameless. Princess Kitamura coldly stared at Qin Wentian. Yuhuang, you are so beautiful. If you smile, the world would lose its luster. Why must you keep such a cold expression on your face? Qin Wentian sighed. Princess Kitamura was completely defeated by the shamelessness of this fellow. At this moment, little rascal also woke up. He blinked his eyes as he stared at Qin Wentian and Princess Kitamura. There seemed to be something going on between these two fellows. Do you like this beauty? Little rascal leisurely walked out. Qin Wentian glared at little rascal. What does a little rascal like, you know? My relationship with Yuhuang is very deep. How can you understand? Little rascal's eyes spun about. Evidently he didn't believe it. Princess Kitamura stared at little rascal as a strange light flashed in her eyes. What are you looking at? Although you are beautiful, I won't be tempted by you. I know you want my inheritance, but if you want me to give it to you, you have to promise me a condition. Little rascal spoke. Both he and Princess Kitamura knew that the other party had the inheritance of the Brahma Heavenly Emperor. What condition? Princess Kitamura asked. My Wentian has outstanding talent and is cultivating together with this king. In the future, he would definitely unify the immortal realms and become a supreme existence. How about you marry Wentian as a concubine and I will give you my inheritance? Little rascal inclined his head as he spoke. Rumble. A wave of coldness instantly enveloped this space. Qin Wentian shivered as he silently cursed at Little Rascal. It wasn't easy for them to warm up their relationship. This time around, Little Rascal was doomed. Princess Kitamura's eyes were incomparably cold as she stared at Little Rascal. She was the daughter of the Dark North Immortal Emperor, a princess of the Hokage Sengoku Kingdom, and the youngest immortal emperor in the history of the Hokage Sengoku Kingdom. How dazzling was her halo! Leaving aside her heaven-shaking beauty, this Little Rascal actually wanted her to marry Qin Wentian as a concubine? Little Rascal shivered and hid behind Qin Wentian as he spoke in a low voice, so cold. Beauty, don't be angry even if you don't agree. This Bao is discussing this with you. Not this king. Princess Kitamura's voice was extremely cold. I'm just joking, am I right, Wentian? Little Rascal's body transformed into a snow-white demonic beast as he poked his head out. He was extremely adorable, causing people to feel a reluctance to act against him. Yes, Little Rascal is more mischievous. Yu Huang, don't lower yourself to his level. Qin Wentian trembled as he spoke. This fellow was getting more and more outrageous, he even dared to make such a joke. He was only teasing Princess Kitamura, but this rascal actually said that he wanted Princess Kitamura to be his concubine. If this was heard by the Dark North Immortal Emperor, he would definitely kill him directly. That's right, Beauty, I will pass the inheritance to you right now. There's no need for you to agree to any conditions, just remember this Bao's kindness. As for the matter between you and Wentian, be it as a wife or as a concubine, this Bao doesn't care. Little Rascal spoke in a baby voice, his words causing Princess Kitamura's beautiful eyes to flicker. Is what you said true? If I take away your inheritance, can you bear it? You are underestimating this Bao too much. Little Rascal's body flashed as he leaped into Princess Kitamura's embrace. Princess Kitamura caught him, only to see Little Rascal snuggling into her embrace and lying there lazily, as though he was enjoying this. He even winked at Qin Wentian, causing Qin Wentian to be dumbfounded. What a beast! Only now did this Bao know that the Brahma Heavenly Emperor is from the same race as me. In addition, this Bao is the king of this race. Now that I can directly awaken the inheritance of the Brahma Heavenly Emperor, why would I still care about his inheritance? In addition, I can take the initiative to pass it to you. There won't be any harm to me. Little Rascal spoke in an arrogant manner. Elder sister, you are so beautiful. What is your name? Qin Wentian had a face filled with black lines. He was completely defeated. He discovered that right now there was nothing he needed to do. Lifting his feet, Qin Wentian walked towards the mountain rampart. Behind him, a gentle voice drifted over. Princess Kitamura. Elder sister Yu Huang. Little Rascal called out in a babyish voice. Qin Wentian's footsteps were a little unsteady. This rascal was even more shameless than before. Seems like he was growing up. Heaven-devouring beasts are one of the rarest saint beasts of the demon race. They are extremely rare, even in the desolate mountain range. To think that the Brahma Heavenly Emperor was actually a heaven-devouring beast. Also, there are no records of the royal bloodline of heaven-devouring beasts. This little fellow is the king of heaven-devouring beasts. Seems like your luck isn't bad. It's just that I didn't expect the royal bloodline of heaven-devouring beasts to be so adorable. The voice of the Southern Phoenix matriarch drifted over. Qin Wentian glanced at the matriarch, senior matriarch. This little fellow has always been mischievous since young and likes to boast. Who knows if he is from the royal bloodline or not? It should be true. For some demons with high bloodlines, their performance would be even more terrifying the further they advanced. Only when their cultivation base reached a higher level would they awaken their bloodline and innate abilities. This little fellow only awakened his bloodline at such a late stage. Most probably, his bloodline must be extremely noble. In the future, he might really be able to devour the sun, moon and constellations like in the legends. The Southern Phoenix matriarch's voice caused Qin Wentian to feel a little surreal. He stared at little rascal in Princess Kitamura's embrace. This adorable and shameless little fellow, no matter how he looked at it, he didn't seem like a supreme greater demon from the legends at all. Chapter 1427. Naturally, if little rascal was truly from the royal bloodline of heaven-devouring beasts, Qin Wentian would naturally be happy for him. After this awakening, little rascal would surely be even more terrifying when he went out. Senior Phoenix Matriarch, I will go take a look at the rampart. Qin Wentian was the Southern Phoenix Matriarch. Her beauty was unparalleled and her demeanor was extraordinary. However, it was impossible for him to be as casual as he was with Princess Kitamura. Go on, since you can awaken your bloodline, you will surely have many harvests here. The Southern Phoenix Matriarch smiled and nodded. Qin Wentian nodded and walked towards the rampart, staring at those supreme greater demons and saint beasts. There were many greater demons of the dragon race. Ancient phoenixes, vermilion birds, black tortoises, kirans, white tigers, tautai, primal chaos and many other saint beasts. There were also some extremely rare saint beasts. Qin Wentian walked towards the image of a golden-winged rock and stared at it. After that, his perception gradually sank into it as a shocking scene appeared in his mind. There was a golden-winged rock there. He had the speed of a great rock and could shuttle through space uncontrollably. His wings were like the sharpest swords in the world, capable of slashing apart all existences. Everywhere he passed by, the heavens and earth would be cleaved into two. That sharp sword was invincible, capable of destroying everything. He stared ahead and flapped his wings, creating a terrifying spatial storm that could annihilate everything. He had many unexcelled innate techniques and powerful innate techniques. Felt like he could comprehend all of them here. Qin Wentian quietly contemplated. Now that his bloodline had already awakened, he could cultivate the energy of the evil god race. This meant that he could also cultivate the innate techniques of other greater demons. If his attribute was compatible, he might even be able to cultivate the innate techniques of other greater demons. Although he might not be able to cultivate the innate techniques of the great rock, he had always cultivated the movement technique of a great rock. Comprehending it here would allow him to gain a deeper understanding of it. Although he had no way to stand shoulder to shoulder with the golden-winged rock, his movement technique would still be of great help to him. He naturally wouldn't miss out on such an opportunity. Qin Wentian immersed himself for a long time before he broke free. After that, he continued to glance at the other saint beasts and greater demons, searching for innate techniques that were suitable for him to cultivate. Is this an elephant demon? Qin Wentian found a powerful and terrifying holy beast. It was from the elephant demon race, but this elephant was like a divine elephant. It was the king of the elephant race. Its body was incomparably huge, like an ancient mountain. Its entire body seemed to be cast from metal. Qin Wentian's consciousness sank into it. The divine elephant let out a trumpet that caused the heavens and earth to tremble. Its four hooves stomped on the ground, and suddenly Qin Wentian had a feeling that this part of the world was being suppressed. It was as if a supreme power was descending, incomparably heavy. After that, the divine elephant continued to stomp on the ground, causing the sky to collapse and the earth to crack. Everything was about to be crushed and turned into ashes. What a powerful innate technique. This part of the sky seems to be suppressed, and there's also an extremely strong gravity force. If my opponent is trapped within, they would surely be suppressed to the point of being unable to move. Qin Wentian's heart trembled. He was proficient in the laws of force, suppression, and tyrannical devil. His attacks were supported by the laws of sword and destruction. If he could use the innate ability of the divine elephant to form a law domain, he would surely be able to unleash shocking might. Even if he couldn't completely kill his opponent, with the support of the evil eye domain and God's hand domain, his might would surely be even more terrifying. When he thought of this, Qin Wentian started to seriously cultivate and comprehend. Once again, he immersed himself in cultivation, unable to extricate himself. This time he cultivated for a very long time. After reaching the immortal king realm, wanting to use his bloodline power and law energy to imitate the innate ability of a greater demon, to form a law domain wasn't so simple. He naturally needed a long period of time to comprehend it. In addition, as he continued to comprehend and explore his law domain, Qin Wentian's understanding and usage of law energy grew increasingly deeper. After a long time, Qin Wentian finally formed his third law domain. With the support of his bloodline power, he could unleash the full potential of this law domain. He named it the Divine Elephant Law Domain. Right now, Qin Wentian had already comprehended 3 types of law domains: God's Hand Domain, Evil Eye Domain, and Divine Elephant Law Domain. Each of them had different levels of power, and his foundation in the Immortal King realm grew more and more stable. He continued to cultivate, comprehending the innate abilities of the greater demons. Not only him, those human stellar martial cultivators were also here, not willing to leave. All of them had some gains. Qin Wentian saw some rarely seen abilities of greater demons. For example, he saw a type of demonic beast he had never seen before, the Dream Taper. This demon had the ability to devour the dreams of others, causing them to be unable to extricate themselves. Such an innate ability was incomparably wondrous. Although it wasn't an attack, the power it contained was still extremely shocking. However, Qin Wentian had no way to cultivate such an innate ability. He could only continue to sense the other innate abilities. Time flowed by extremely quickly. Unknowingly, 3 years have already passed since the Demon God Mountain was opened. Qin Wentian and the others have been cultivating in the Demon God Mountain and didn't leave. At this moment, Qin Wentian was sitting below the divine statue, quietly comprehending the various innate abilities of the demon world. By relying on the 10,000 Laws record, as well as the mirror technique he learned in the Tiandao Sacred Academy, he was able to manifest innate abilities just by sitting there. In Qin Wentian's consciousness, he was currently practicing a sword art. The mirror floated in the air as his figure wielded a sharp sword. Within the sword, a mysterious aura gushed forth, akin to a dream, yet also exuding a tyrannical devilish might. Qin Wentian moved. His silhouette resembled a great rock, his movements as fast as lightning. When he slashed out with his sword, it was like a dream, an illusory sword, a sword of dreams. It felt surreal, but as the sword light slashed down, a terrifying sonic boom rang out. One could faintly see the sharp claws of a golden-winged great rock slashing through the heavens and earth, as fast as lightning, incomparably tyrannical. However, the sword art instantly changed. When the first strike missed, the second one instantly slashed out. The style of this sword changed abruptly. It was no longer a slash but a stab instead. It was still as illusory as before, causing people to feel that it was an illusion. However, what didn't change was the speed and tyranny of the sword, as well as the sonic boom that could suppress everything. It was like the attack of a divine elephant, containing boundless might. The sword didn't stop there. The third sword strike was like the birth of a true dragon, capable of destroying everything, breaking apart the heavens and earth. After the third sword strike, Qin Wentian's figure halted. The 3 sword strikes are linked together, and the sword art changes every time. It's truly not easy to master them. However, if this sword art is completed, the might it might unleash would surely be shocking. If I can use the power of God's hand to activate it, the might of the attack would surely be extremely powerful. Qin Wentian silently mused. This sword art was something he created after these few days. The might it unleashed was incomparably tyrannical, and each sword strike was like the innate ability of a greater demon. It was extremely terrifying, and the soul of this sword was derived from the innate ability of a greater demon, the Dream Taper. It contained the power of a dream demon, and when the sword strike was unleashed, the opponent would feel as though they were in a dream, sinking into a state of surrealism. If one's law energy or will wasn't strong enough, a single sword strike would be sufficient to kill them. He named this sword art the Dream Demon Sword Art, having the same name as the Dream Taper. It wasn't perfected yet. He continued to cultivate it, infusing the energy of the greater demons into his sword art. After that, he continued to perfect it, transforming it into a sword strike that he could use as he pleased, allowing him to complement his powerful movement techniques. The human Wuxiu's talent compared to demonic beasts lay in his comprehension abilities. He naturally had to make good use of this comprehension ability. In the process of perfecting his sword art, Qin Wentian also perfected his own saber and halberd arts, corroborating each other and improving unceasingly. If he stagnated, he would stand up and observe the rampart of the Demon God Mountain, continuing to comprehend it. By repeating this, his cultivation base improved unceasingly, and his strength grew stronger bit by bit. His usage of law energy grew stronger and stronger as well. Naturally, all of this was happening silently. No one knew how much he improved or what he comprehended. Everything was just a simulation in his mind. However, the greater demons and humans here all improved greatly. Some of the greater demons grew more and more terrifying, awakening to a shocking extent. 7 years have already passed. The news of the opening of the Demon God Mountain had long circulated throughout the desolate mountains and the immortal realms. The people who were shocked by the news had already calmed down. Although they still felt some trepidation, the greater demons cultivating in the Demon God Mountain all calmed down. They knew that it would still take a very long period of time before these greater demons would be able to exit the mountain. During these years, Little Rascal, who had passed the inheritance to Princess Kitamura, had a very good relationship with Princess Kitamura. Little Rascal would occasionally jump into Princess Kitamura's embrace to play, and would even lie on Princess Kitamura's chest to rest. This simply caused Qin Wentian to stare dumbfoundedly in admiration of this little fellow. Some demons were born with the ability to bewitch women. Even for those beauties who could bring about the downfall of empires, they wouldn't be able to escape his demonic claws. What made Qin Wentian even more depressed was that when Little Rascal shamelessly flirted with women, his cultivation actually didn't fall behind at all. His improvement speed was godly. Such an innate talent of the demonic race simply caused others to be jealous. Naturally, Qin Wentian's improvement was also extremely great. Today, he who was sitting below the divine statue on the Demon God Mountain was basking in the radiance of the Demon God Mountain. At the peak of the Demon God Mountain, terrifying law energy cascaded downwards, entering his body as a powerful law energy radiated from him. At this moment, Princess Kitamura's eyes flashed as she stared at Qin Wentian. After that, she saw a radiant smile appearing on Qin Wentian's handsome face. Under the radiance of the Demon God Mountain, Qin Wentian's countenance seemed to contain a magical charm, extremely attractive to the eyes of others. However, Princess Kitamura didn't mind his attractive looks, because from Qin Wentian she could actually sense a mid-stage immortal king aura. This cultivation speed. Princess Kitamura felt her heart trembling. This fellow broke through to the immortal king realm in the immortal law mountain in the Hokage Sengoku kingdom. How many years has it been since then? He actually broke through to the mid-stage of the immortal king realm? Although this was due to the effects of the Demon God Mountain, as well as the recovery of his bloodline, it still caused Princess Kitamura to feel shock in her heart. Didn't Qin Wentian say that he had cultivated for less than 200 years? If this continued, wouldn't he be able to become an immortal emperor within 300 years? Chapter 1428. Qin Wentian's cultivation base had indeed reached the mid-stage of the immortal king realm. However, he had just stepped into this realm. During the 7 years he spent on the Demon God Mountain, he experienced the initial awakening of his bloodline and could truly control the power of his bloodline. He bathed in the radiance of the Demon God Mountain and also comprehended his law domain, creating innate techniques. All sorts of improvements required him to comprehend the law energy. His rate of improvement was extremely fast. It was much faster compared to cultivating in other places. Hence, he only used 7 years to break through to the mid-stage of the immortal king realm. This could be considered a miracle. This was something he didn't expect. He continued to cultivate, comprehending the law energy and stabilizing his foundation. For those who entered the Demon God Palace, none of them left. They all knew that this was an extremely rare opportunity. Unless the Demon God Mountain itself disappeared, it was impossible for them to give up on such a rare opportunity. Even immortal emperors were reluctant to leave. Even someone as strong as the Southern Phoenix Matriarch was comprehending the Demon God Mountain, let alone immortal kings. In fact, they all focused on their own cultivation, doing their best to grow stronger. They rarely interacted with each other, seizing the opportunity to strengthen themselves. There wouldn't be a second chance for the Demon God Mountain to open. Outside the palace, on the ancient path of the Demon God Mountain, it was unknown how many experts were there. They were still attempting to ascend the ancient path, wanting to reach the end or search for good fortune in other places of the Demon God Mountain. The demonic beasts of the desolate mountains naturally wouldn't leave. More and more people gathered here. Even for human cultivators, there were many more compared to the past. On the 10th year of the Demon God Mountain, today the Demon God Mountain trembled. There seemed to be a change in the sky. Countless people inclined their heads and stared at the sky. After that, they only saw the radiance in the sky gradually dimming. In an instant, a chain reaction occurred. The radiance in the sky was the radiance of the Demon God Mountain. When the radiance dimmed, the Demon God Mountain dimmed as well. Gradually, the radiance was transmitted to the palace. The palace at the peak of the Demon God Mountain suddenly turned dark. The people inside all inclined their heads in shock. After that, they saw that the statue also dimmed, resembling an ordinary statue. After that, the statue on the walls of the palace dimmed as well, no longer emitting any spiritual energy. It no longer contained any powerful demonic arts and became a stone statue. There was nothing special about it. God Mountain. The hearts of the greater demons trembled. Was their holy land, the God Mountain, going to disappear just like that? The radiance faded away. The divine mountain transformed back into an ordinary mountain. Although it was extremely tall, it was no longer a mountain of miracles. Outside the palace, on the stone walls, there were no more demonic beasts. The demonic beasts that were roaring madly and fighting outside were all petrified, transforming into statues of demonic beasts. This caused the experts who were fighting to be dumbfounded. Everything happened too suddenly. However, this wasn't the end. This force continued to extend down the ancient path at an extremely fast speed. All the miracles on the ancient path disappeared. The demonic beasts were petrified. The ancient path no longer had any luster. The ancient trees withered, and the ancient path no longer had any divine splendor. After that, the entire godly mountain seemed to be corroded by darkness. All of the miracles vanished, and all of the plants and vegetation that could help the greater demons evolve withered. 10 years later, the divine mountain disappeared, turning into an ordinary towering mountain range. Countless demonic beasts raised their heads and looked at the sky, watching as the Holy Land left. They felt a sense of loss, and there were even many demonic beasts that prostrated themselves on the ground, sobbing. This was the Demon God Mountain, the legend of their desolate 10,000 mountain range, the miracle of the desolate mountains. Did it vanish just like that? The godly mountain has finally vanished. In this boundlessly vast region, many humans actually heaved a sigh of relief. During these 10 years, greater demons of the desolate mountains rose up everywhere, evolving and transforming. They could only watch helplessly, unable to do anything about it. Every day, the strength of the desolate mountains grew stronger, causing them to feel an intense sense of danger. Luckily, this day finally arrived. The godly mountain vanished and everything returned to peace. Let's hope that the greater demons of the desolate mountains would return to where they came from and wouldn't attack the immortal realms. But naturally, this might only be an extravagant hope. Even if the greater demons of the desolate 10,000 mountain range didn't attack the immortal realms, they were already exposed to the immortal realms. Many powerful royal clans have already walked out, and it was almost impossible for them to return to where they came from. In the palace at the peak of the godly mountain, the Southern Phoenix matriarch quietly watched everything that happened. She was still as beautiful as ever, like a goddess from the 9 heavens. She stood there and sighed lightly, as expected of a miracle. But now the miracle has vanished. Ai, what a pity. This Bao hasn't cultivated enough. Little Rascal spoke in a somewhat depressed manner. Qin Wentian rolled his eyes, glaring at Little Rascal. This little rascal evolved again a few months before the godly mountain vanished, becoming a mid-stage immortal king. His gains were even greater than Qin Wentian's, but he actually said that he hasn't cultivated enough? What's worse was that did Little Rascal really put in effort in his cultivation? Most of the time when he woke up, he would see this bastard clinging onto Baiming Yuhuang's body. However, Qin Wentian could understand why Little Rascal's improvement was so great. After all, Little Rascal's bloodline had truly awakened. After bathing in the radiance of the godly mountain, he underwent a transformation and became a true heaven-devouring beast. As a transcendent level saint beast, the benefits he received naturally far surpassed humans. Although Qin Wentian had a powerful greater demon bloodline, the benefits he received weren't too much. He only gained full control over his bloodline and didn't evolve. Maybe even this miracle wouldn't be able to allow his bloodline to evolve. Even now, Qin Wentian still didn't know which greater demon bloodline flowed in his body. His innate talent, flame transformation, seemed to be able to allow him to cultivate the demonic arts and techniques of any greater demon race. It was extremely extraordinary. Big brother Qin. Only to see Purgatory walking over. She was in her human form. That fiery figure of hers clad in fiery red robes appeared once again. Now that she had broken through to the immortal king realm, her demeanor was naturally even more extraordinary. Her charm grew even greater, radiating the charm of a demonic woman. Purgatory, your cultivation base has stabilized at the late phase of the initial phase immortal king realm. Not bad. Qin Wentian smiled and nodded. My cultivation speed is still not as fast as big brother Qin's. Purgatory had a charming smile on her face. Most probably she still didn't know how great her charm was. Little Purgatory, there's still a gap between us. Little Rascal inclined his head and spoke. Qin Wentian directly smacked Little Rascal's head. Scram? I'll scram then. Humph, Little Rascal spoke in a baby-like voice. After that, he leaped into the embrace of Princess Kitamura and laid there, staring at Qin Wentian with a mocking gaze. Why are you showing off to your demonic beast companion? Princess Kitamura coldly glanced at Qin Wentian. She gently stroked Little Rascal's body. Qin Wentian was stunned as his face was filled with black lines. He saw Little Rascal stretching out its paws to show off. Let's go out. A voice that was as refreshing as the spring breeze drifted over. The Southern Phoenix matriarch walked over and nodded her head to Qin Wentian and the others. Qin Wentian replied. After that, he walked out of the palace. Everyone sighed at the fact that the miraculous scene had disappeared. They didn't linger here any longer as they respectively walked out. After exiting the palace, there were already many people outside. Right now, their immortal senses were no longer obstructed, and they could naturally see the situation inside. They could also sense the changes to the Demon God Mountain, and all of them had looks of disappointment on their faces. The miracle of the Demon God Mountain had completely vanished. At the bottom of the ancient pathway, there were still people rushing over. They already knew the ending even before they arrived, but they still wanted to personally see the peak of the Demon God Mountain which they had never been to before. Yu Huang, the Dark North Immortal Emperor, walked over. Southern Phoenix Matriarch. The experts from the Namhuang clan also arrived. Wentian, Chongqing the Great and Bai Wuya also arrived. Little Fellow, the Demon Emperor Heaven-Devouring Beast also arrived. There were also experts from the various major powers who came over. In fact, there were even some supreme characters from the immortal realms. This was especially so for those Empyreans who entered the palace. Young Master, Qi Yu and the other experts from the Battle Saint tribe also walked over. Qin Wentian. A cold voice rang out. The experts from the Supreme Sword School of the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom arrived. When they saw Qin Wentian walking out from the palace at the peak of the Demon God Mountain, their expressions instantly turned extremely unsightly to behold. Among them, the Empyrean of the Supreme Sword School, Shangguang Jiani, was among them. Something even he failed to accomplish, Qin Wentian actually succeeded? Why are you inside? Pei Qing's expression turned cold when he saw Qin Wentian. How could this be? He had never left and had been trying to enter the palace. However, he had never seen Qin Wentian entering before. He is that great rock. A voice spoke. After that, numerous gazes turned to Qin Wentian. This fellow was that great rock? What great rock? He is Qin Wentian from the immortal Qianbian Gate of the Eastern regions, the son-in-law of Chongqing the Great. This fellow has a cultivation base at the initial stage of the immortal king realm. He transformed into a great rock and joined forces with two demonic beasts to barge in. Simply shameless and despicable to the extreme. Qin Wentian laughed as he stared at everyone. He didn't care about the words of these people. So what if they knew? He has already entered the palace at the peak of the Demon God Mountain. His cultivation base has improved, stepping into the mid-stage of the immortal king realm, establishing two law domains and comprehending powerful innate techniques. His purpose of transforming into a great rock has already been achieved. Why would he care about how these people view him? Strength was what he pursued. You are that bastard? A mid-stage immortal king from the Sacred Sun sect had an ashen expression. Sun flames could be seen flickering around him. That great rock had deceived everyone and even mocked him for being trash. He even killed someone of the same generation as you when he was suppressing his cultivation base. A greater demon coldly spoke. That expert from the Sacred Sun sect radiated a blazing sunfire. You killed my senior brother? The saint child of the Sacred Sun sect was killed? Can you swallow this? An expert from the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom instigated. Qin Wentian. A few terrifying roars rang out. Numerous gigantic white tigers rushed over, staring at Qin Wentian. You are the one who ate white tiger meat in the Tiandao Sacred Academy. Chapter 1429. Qin Wentian glanced at the experts in the surroundings. He didn't expect that so many people would want to find trouble for him after he exited the Demon God Palace. The experts from the Sacred Sun sect, the White Tiger people, as well as the experts from the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom and the Supreme Sword School. Scram. Qin Wentian coldly glanced at the White Tiger people. The experts from the White Tiger people roared in rage, their baleful auras towering up into the sky. However, at this moment, many experts appeared beside Qin Wentian. Bai Wuya's aura gushed forth while Chongqing the Great quietly stood there. Both sides were extremely powerful. Who would dare to move recklessly? Qin Wentian then turned to the experts from the Sacred Sun sect. His eyes flashed with killing intent. It was none other than this expert from the Sacred Sun sect who killed the old Rock King. Trash like you still dares to be so impudent before me? Qin Wentian stared at the experts, radiating coldness. Hao Tian was killed by him? A powerful expert from the Sacred Sun sect appeared, exuding terrifying emperor might. The flames of the sun seemed to want to incinerate the heavens and earth. The expert from the Sacred Sun sect who killed the old Rock King earlier was none other than the saint child of the Sacred Sun sect. His talent was extremely outstanding, but he was actually killed by someone else. The expert who killed the old Rock King nodded. You dare to kill the saint child of my sect? The immortal emperor from the Sacred Sun sect stepped out. With a grab, a blazing sun appeared, enveloping Qin Wentian. Are you courting death? Chongqing the Great stepped out as a formless terrifying energy gushed forth, shattering the blazing sun. Chongqing the Great's emperor might gushed forth as his robes fluttered in the wind. Chongqing. That immortal emperor glanced at Chongqing the Great. He killed the saint child of my sect. You want to protect him? What an awe-inspiring Sacred Sun sect. Qin Wentian's eyes were cold. Your sage child wanted to kill me and was killed by me. An immortal emperor actually still has the face to act against me in such a dignified manner? What a useless sect. Just with the likes of you? If you didn't use despicable methods, would you be able to kill a saint child of my sect? The immortal emperor glanced at Qin Wentian, feeling extremely confident in the saint child of the Sacred Sun sect. Haha. Qin Wentian laughed uproariously. Before this man was also so domineering and tyrannical, killing my friend right in front of my face, thinking that he's invincible under the heavens. The people from the Supreme Sword School and the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom are all like this as well. All of you are so arrogant and despotic, acting like you are all unrivaled characters. How ridiculous. Since you guys are so arrogant and think that you are invincible, why don't you challenge me one by one in front of all the experts in the immortal realms? You are courting death. The expert from the Sacred Sun sect who killed the Great Rock spoke. You have just broken through to the mid-stage of the immortal king realm? You actually dare to be so arrogant and despotic? Fine, I will kill you myself. Can you guarantee that the others won't act against me? Even if you are already at the late stage of the mid-stage, do you think there is a need for others to act to kill trash like you? Qin Wentian arrogantly spoke. His silhouette flashed as he soared into the air, coldly staring at the experts from the Supreme Sword School and the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom. You guys don't need to sow discord. If you have the guts, just scram out and fight me. If not, just scram back to where you came from. Why are you still not coming out to fight? Qin Wentian coldly spoke to that expert from the Sacred Sun sect. That expert from the Sacred Sun sect laughed maniacally as he soared up into the air. This is the first time I've seen someone so arrogant, not knowing the immensity of the heavens and earth. Such an ignorant person actually has such a high reputation in the eastern regions? How ridiculous. I'm here to take your lowly life. As he spoke, blazing flames surged around him as a terrifying beam of sunlight manifested behind him. Right now, there was no longer any suppression from the demon god mountain. His aura at the late stage of the mid-stage of the immortal realms was extremely terrifying. That beam of sunlight enveloped the heavens and earth, causing the entire space to burn. His domain was unleashed and Qin Wentian was in the center of it. The power of his domain was so strong that it could melt everything in the world, blasting towards Qin Wentian. An extremely terrifying scene appeared in the air. The temperature of the entire area turned incomparably hot. Many experts below released their auras and used their defensive techniques in order to not be affected. When they saw this terrifying scene, they could feel how strong the destructive might was. Even ordinary late-stage, mid-stage immortal kings would be directly incinerated to death. Qin Wentian had just broken through to the mid-stage of the immortal king realm. Where did he get his courage from? Although they were on the same level, he had just broken through to the mid-stage. How could he be compared to those experts who have been in the same realm for so many years? Boom! The law energy from Qin Wentian gushed forth as a terrifying Xuanwu tortoise appeared, exuding an overwhelming demonic qi. Runic light flashed, enveloping his body. That fearsome sun law energy gushed forth, corroding his defenses, wanting to melt the Xuanwu tortoise's defenses. Qin Wentian activated the power of God's hand. Boundless runes manifested on his body as beams of light shot up into the sky, merging into the Xuanwu tortoise's defenses. In an instant, the Xuanwu tortoise's body became indestructible. The sun flames couldn't continue corroding it and were all blocked outside. Even for peak-stage, mid-stage immortal kings, it was basically impossible for them to destroy Qin Wentian with just their law domains. Is this your true strength? Seems like your improvement in the demon god mountain isn't small. That expert from the Sacred Sun sect coldly laughed, but he was still filled with confidence. His cultivation base was far higher compared to Qin Wentian. Die! With a clench of his fist, countless scarlet sun swords shot out from his sun law domain, penetrating through everything. Sizzling sounds rang out as the swords tore apart the Xuanwu's defense. At the same time, he stepped out and lifted his hand as a resplendent sun sword appeared in his hand. Every beam of light from the sword was blinding to the eyes as he directly slashed down towards Qin Wentian. Puchi! A sword slashed down, breaking apart space and penetrating through the Xuanwu divine turtle, directly slicing it apart in a tyrannical manner, wanting to sever Qin Wentian's life into two. What a powerful sword! This sword is a divine weapon that was created using a secret art of the Sacred Sun sect, using the power of the sun as a sacrificial offering. It is perfectly compatible with their abilities, and in addition, the grade of this sword is equivalent to his cultivation base. This can't be considered borrowing strength. Everyone faintly felt that there was no way for Qin Wentian to block this sword. But at this moment, the humming of a sword rang out as the demon sword slashed out. There seemed to be the roar of a dragon, the cry of a phoenix, or the cry of a great rock. When the sun sword light slashed down, Qin Wentian actually stabbed out with it. This sword strike was incomparably tyrannical, filled with terrifying demonic qi and towering devil might, capable of suppressing everything. Even the heavens and earth trembled as the sun sword light was forcefully shattered. Boom! A third eye appeared in the center of Qin Wentian's brows. In an instant, a terrifying destructive light manifested, transforming into a vortex of destruction that directly distorted space, engulfing the expert from the Sacred Sun sect within. His opponent's expression froze. He continued slashing out with his sun sword, breaking apart the vortex. At the same time, Qin Wentian continued advancing forward, causing the space around him to tremble as an incomparably heavy pressure bore down on this space. With every step he took, that pressure grew stronger and stronger. Kill! Qin Wentian roared. In an instant, within the incomparably heavy law domain, a gigantic divine elephant could be seen soaring through the air, suppressing this space. At the same time, countless devil swords of destruction rained down from the sky, aiming for the expert from the Sacred Sun sect. What a powerful law domain! The hearts of everyone trembled. Such a powerful law domain actually managed to trap the expert from the Sacred Sun sect within. That expert's body erupted with even more intense sunlight, but at this moment, Qin Wentian was like a great rock soaring through the air, stabbing out with his sword. Upon seeing that sword strike, the expert from the Sacred Sun sect only felt an illusion appearing in his mind. The world seemed to be changing like he was in a dream. However, he knew very clearly that he was currently fighting. With a loud roar, he broke free from the dreamscape. The sword had already arrived, the destructive might gushing forth frenziedly. He instinctively slashed out with his sword, clashing against Qin Wentian's killing sword. Bang! Qin Wentian's sword was like a dragon. Dragon roars shook the sky as devil might gushed forth. The expert from the Sacred Sun sect roared as sun flames gushed forth from his mouth. Devil might gushed forth from Qin Wentian's body, protecting him. Boundless law energy circulated around him, exuding an incomparably demonic aura. His evil eye flickered, causing the expert from the Sacred Sun sect to scream in agony as his body contorted bit by bit. The body of the expert from the Sacred Sun sect burned with even more intense flames, as though he was putting up a final struggle before death. Trash! A cold mocking voice rang out. As the sound of that voice faded, the evil eye grew even more terrifying. Slaughter sword chi turned into tiny specks of light, frenziedly piercing through the other party's body, tearing it apart bit by bit, killing it completely. Boom! A thunderous sound rang out. The sun flames transformed into boundless flames that rained down from the sky. Everyone inclined their heads and stared at Qin Wentian, who was in the air, feeling extremely shocked in their hearts. Qin Wentian had just entered the mid-stage of the Immortal King realm. How could his attacks be so powerful to such an extent? Even the power of his law domain was extremely terrifying. The Immortal Emperor from the Sacred Sun sect stared at the sky, his killing intent terrifying. Defeated. A peak-stage mid-stage Immortal King expert from the Sacred Sun sect was not only defeated, he even died, killed by Qin Wentian on the spot. This was simply smacking the face of the Sacred Sun sect. Is this also considered using a sinister method to kill an expert from your Sacred Sun sect? Qin Wentian stared at him as he impolitely spoke. Who is it exactly? How arrogant! Even if you are an immortal emperor, you are still so short-sighted, thinking that you are invincible. How ridiculous! The sun flames from that immortal emperor soared upwards. However, a calm voice rang out. Are you still not ashamed of yourself? Southern Phoenix Matriarch. The immortal emperor from the Sacred Sun sect stared at the person who spoke. It was none other than the Southern Phoenix Matriarch of the Namhuang clan. Qin Wentian has already said it. If you all want to fight on the same level, I will accompany you all. You all can send out any experts you want. If your strength is weaker than my opponent and they are killed, it's fine even if you all disregard your face and act to take revenge. However, I will accompany you all. The calm voice of the Southern Phoenix Matriarch was like a bolt of thunder, blasting into the ears of those who wanted to kill Qin Wentian. The voice of the Southern Phoenix Matriarch should be able to represent the attitude of the entire Namhuang clan, right? Chapter 1430. The Southern Phoenix Matriarch's voice caused silence to descend. Even the experts from the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom and the Supreme Sword School felt their hearts trembling as their expressions turned unsightly. This was the voice of the Southern Phoenix Matriarch. What sort of character was the Southern Phoenix Matriarch? She was the leader of the Namhuang clan in the southern regions. Before this, when they were dealing with the Evergreen Kingdom, although the Namhuang clan did act, the one who acted was merely a holy maiden. Although she was an immortal emperor, it couldn't be said that she represented the entire Namhuang clan. This was just like how the White Tiger people once sent immortal emperors to the eastern regions to capture Qin Wentian. But after they failed, they didn't make any further moves. Clearly, their determination wasn't strong enough because that wasn't the will of the entire White Tiger people. It was the same for Namphong Guhong and the others protecting Qin Wentian. Although there was a trace of the Namhuang clan's attitude, it couldn't be said that it represented the will of the entire Namhuang clan. However, the Southern Phoenix Matriarch's stance now had extraordinary significance. She alone could represent the will of the entire Namhuang clan. The experts from the Sacred Sun sect were incomparably enraged. The Southern Phoenix Matriarch had forcefully interfered. It was basically impossible for them to kill Qin Wentian. As the leader of the Namhuang clan, the Southern Phoenix Matriarch was a peak-stage immortal emperor, and her name had shaken the immortal realms for many years. Right now it was unknown how powerful she was. Since she had already expressed her stance, how could they kill Qin Wentian? 2 geniuses from the Sacred Sun sect were killed. Especially when one of them was a saint child character. How could he be willing to let Qin Wentian off just like that? Fine, since the Southern Phoenix matriarch has spoken, my Sacred Sun sect will give face to the Nam Huang clan. However, since he said that he wants to challenge those on the same level as him with so many geniuses here, could it be that he is just saying it with his mouth? The eyes of the immortal emperor from the Sacred Sun sect flashed as he stared at the experts from the peak powers. The White Tiger people, Tenlon Heaven Kingdom, Supreme Sword School. All of them wanted to kill Qin Wentian. Now that his Sacred Sun sect was defeated, shouldn't these people stand out to express their stance? In that case they would lose face as well. I'll kill him. A deep roar resounded. From among the many experts of the White Tiger people, a peak mid-level White Tiger Demon King walked out. He had transformed into a human form, but he still exuded an extremely powerful White Tiger baleful chi. His white skin faintly flickered with a golden luster, giving off a strong sense of threat. I'll kill him. Another sharp voice rang out. The gazes of everyone turned over and stared at another person. This person was from the Supreme Sword School Shangguangjiani, a peak-level mid-stage immortal king genius. His combat prowess was extremely high and his sword arts were unparalleled. Before this, he saw Qin Wentian actually killing an expert from the Sacred Sun sect with a single strike of his sword. He truly wanted to see how Qin Wentian's sword could still be called a sword under his sword. He insulted Sky Mist Empyrean. If that's the case, I will fulfill his wish. A supremely powerful immortal king from the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom took a step out, exuding a suppressive might that could suppress the heavens and earth, terrifying to the extreme. Shatian, is he the one who defeated you? Among the crowd, an immortal emperor from the 9 emperors' immortal state stared at Huang Shatian as he asked. Huang Shatian stared at his old opponent as he sighed in his heart. He had been working hard in his cultivation, wanting to defeat Qin Wentian once more. Yet he didn't expect Qin Wentian to advance so quickly, going further and further. Huang Shatian was already in existence with outstanding talent. How many years has it been since then? He forcibly broke through to the immortal king realm, all for the sake of defeating Qin Wentian. Now the demon god mountain descended into the world. When the miracles vanished, Qin Wentian was already a mid-stage immortal king. Such a cultivation speed truly caused people to feel despair. I'm inferior to him. Huang Shatian closed his eyes as he let out a pained sigh. He was unrivaled throughout his life. No one in the same generation as him in the 9 emperors' immortal state could stand shoulder to shoulder with him. In fact, there were only a few seniors who could be mentioned in the same breath as him. After the opening of the Tiandao Sacred Academy, he felt that the era that belonged to him had finally arrived. He was indeed unrivaled until he met Qin Wentian. His fate was destined to have an even more powerful opponent, surpassing him in an even more dazzling manner. After that, Qin Wentian left him far behind, causing him to feel despair in his heart. Shatian, you are one of the most outstanding characters in our 9 emperors' immortal state. How can you belittle yourself? Right now your heart has already been tarnished, and this man is none other than your heart devil. He cannot be allowed to live. That immortal emperor spoke to Huang Shatian, his eyes flashing with killing intent as he stared at Qin Wentian. It was none other than a junior from the eastern regions who trampled the 3 most outstanding geniuses of the 9 emperors' immortal state under his feet in the Tiandao Sacred Academy. Among the 3, Huang Yudi had died and Huang Shaishan's Dao heart was damaged. He no longer had that indomitable spirit he once had. Regardless of whether it was for revenge or to allow Huang Shatian to regain his sense of self, Qin Wentian had to die. I will kill him for you. A mid-stage immortal king at the side spoke. He was middle-aged and exuded a majestic aura, exuding a sense of imposingness. He stepped out as well, his killing intent gushing forth in the direction of Qin Wentian. The White Tiger people, the Supreme Sword School, the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom, the 9 emperors' immortal state. The immortal kings of the various powers all moved towards the direction of Qin Wentian, as though they wanted to see who would be the one to kill Qin Wentian. This scene caused countless experts in the surroundings to gather, staring at the young immortal king walking down from the peak of the demon god mountain. He was just a single person, yet he actually caused so many immortal kings from the major powers to want his life. Many greater demons watched with interest. This was truly interesting. They didn't expect that they would be able to witness a battle between mid-stage immortal kings of the immortal realms. If this was in ordinary times, it would definitely be a grand banquet. Even though the experts here were as common as the clouds, with experts from the immortal realms and desolate mountains all here, this battle was still extremely interesting. Pei Qing calmly watched everything, as though he wanted to see how Qin Wentian would die. He had personally experienced Qin Wentian's arrogance before. Now that he had offended so many major powers, these people all had the intention to kill him. Only to see Qin Wentian glancing at the experts who wanted to kill him. He coldly asked, "Who is it exactly?" As the sound of his voice faded, an uproar broke out. They didn't expect Qin Wentian to be so brazen. "Leave him to me." An expert from the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom spoke. His body radiated a tyrannical aura. Incomparably tyrannical. "His life is mine." Shangguangjiani of the Supreme Sword School spoke. His sword intent gushed forth, exuding boundless killing intent. "Back then he ate my white tiger people. He will definitely pay the price and become food in my stomach." The immortal king of the white tiger people stepped out, unwilling to back down. All of them wanted to personally take Qin Wentian's life. Ha ha! Qin Wentian actually laughed uproariously when he saw the experts walking out. He stood arrogantly in the air as his aura gushed forth. Divine light circulated around him, treating all the experts in the world as nothing. He arrogantly spoke, "Why don't all of you come at me together? That way it wouldn't be too troublesome." "What did you say?" The immortal king from the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom roared. Qin Wentian's words were simply a humiliation to them. Courting death. The eyes of the immortal king from the white tiger people gleamed with flames. The four of them advanced together. "I say the four of you trash can come at me together. That would save me a lot of trouble." Qin Wentian repeated. The four of them almost couldn't control themselves and wanted to attack. However, they didn't directly attack because they wanted to save face. If not, they would really be ganging up on Qin Wentian. That would simply be a humiliation. Fighting or not fighting, scramming or not scramming. "What do you guys want exactly?" Qin Wentian mockingly spoke when he saw the four of them stopping. "Qi." Shangguangjiani's sword qi gushed forth as he slashed out with his sword, causing the space around him to be lacerated. His sword flashed past Qin Wentian, terrifying to the extreme. "You can find 3 others to help you kill him together." Shangguangjiani coldly spoke. Qin Wentian stood at his original location, not moving at all. He stared at Shangguangjiani and laughed. "Are you even qualified?" "Yeah." An immature voice drifted over. Little Rascal, who was behind Qin Wentian, swaggered over from the air, appearing extremely comical in this solemn atmosphere. "Wentian, how can you look down on people like this? The others are all heaven chosen from the major powers and seem to be very powerful. You want to fight against 4 of them alone? How would they agree?" Little Rascal leisurely walked over, his words causing the 4 of them to snort coldly. "Although they are trash, but if the 4 of them attacked together and were still defeated by you, wouldn't that make them even more trash? Where would they put their face? All of them are immortal kings from major powers. How embarrassing would that be?" Everyone started, and many of them even started laughing. This little fellow was truly malicious. Where did this little bastard come from? "Do you believe that I won't eat you up in a single gulp?" The demon king from the white tiger people roared in a low voice. "You scared this Bao to death. Wentian, why don't we attack together? In that case, the 2 of us will fight against the 4 of them. It would be better if they lost." Little Rascal spoke in a baby-like voice. In such a situation, his voice was extremely comical. However, Qin Wentian merely smiled and nodded, "Sure. Let's go then. You go first, I will encourage you." Little Rascal waved its paws as it spoke. Qin Wentian nodded. After that, an even more terrifying aura gushed forth from his body. Rumbling sounds rang out as his blood surged, as though it was about to ignite. Instantly, a supreme king's might descended from the heavens, wanting everyone to prostrate before him. Bloodline innate ability, flame transformation. At this instant, Qin Wentian's body was enveloped by a terrifying screen of light. His aura soared madly. Little rascal grinned, revealing a row of white teeth. In addition to that snow-white furry body, it looked even more comical. Since they wish for death, let's grant them their wish. Shangguang Jiani spoke. Since this is his wish, don't say that we are bullying him. Just make your move. The others calmly spoke, only to see Shangguang Jiani of the Supreme Sword School slashing out with his sword. Just a single sword strike was extremely fast, splitting apart the heavens and earth as it appeared before Qin Wentian. Boom! The sword slashed down, slamming into the protective screen of light created by the burning transformation bloodline. That screen of light transformed into the silhouette of a Xuanwu divine turtle. Shangguang Jiani's sword actually had no way to break through it. The hearts of the spectators trembled. Although it was just a casual sword strike, the sword of Shangguang Jiani of the Supreme Sword School couldn't even shake Qin Wentian. How terrifying was this? How powerful? Qin Wentian laughed. The protective screen of light changed rapidly as demonic qi towered up into the skies, transforming into an incomparably gigantic divine elephant. Boom! Qin Wentian stepped out, causing the entire space to tremble. He unleashed his divine elephant law domain, causing the entire space to be suppressed to the extreme, incomparably heavy. Chapter 1431. The four powerful cultivators frowned as they sensed a powerful aura enveloping them. It was so powerful that they couldn't move at all. Boom! Qin Wentian stepped out. The gigantic shadow divine elephant also stepped out, causing the space around him to tremble unceasingly. In this suppressed space, countless beams of destructive sword light shot out from the sky, aiming for the four experts. Do it! The four of them could faintly sense a powerful threat. One of them spoke. As the sound of his voice faded, Shangguang Jiani's law domain already descended. Thousands of paragon swords enveloped the area as a sword-type astral soul appeared behind him. He stabbed out a finger towards Qin Wentian and in an instant countless swords of supremacy slashed out, emitting terrifying whistling sounds. Terrifying divine elephants appeared behind the experts from the Sky Mist Immortal Empire. A king of divine elephants let out a heaven-shaking roar of rage, causing the heavens and earth to tremble. A terrifying scene appeared in the air. The 10,000 elephants slaughtered their way through the air, wanting to destroy Qin Wentian. The experts from the White Tiger people as well as the late-phase mid-stage immortal kings from the 9 Emperors Immortal State all unleashed their terrifying attacks. For a time the entire space was filled with violent energy, wanting to crush Qin Wentian's law domain and divine elephant. Within Qin Wentian's body, the bloodline power from the flame transformation gushed out like a dragon, fusing into the divine elephant. God's hand was activated as every part of the gigantic divine elephant shone with a dazzling light, seemingly indestructible. The Supremacy Reverent Sword, the Sky Mist Immortal Empire's experts, the Tiger King of the White Tiger race and the 9 Emperors Immortal Empire's Emperor-grade immortal light all slammed into the bodies of the divine elephants, causing thunderous rumbling sounds to echo out unceasingly. The entire space trembled violently as the divine elephants trembled. The countless runes on the divine elephants glowed with a terrifying light as faint blood-colored lines appeared, like a sign that cracks were about to appear. But even so, such a scene caused the spectators to be speechless. The combined attacks of 4 powerful experts only managed to cause a tiny crack to appear on Qin Wentian's divine guardian elephant. After this young man unleashed his bloodline power, how terrifying was his defense? What a powerful bloodline ability! Could this be the same as the Demon Kings? Is this an innate bloodline ability? The hearts of everyone trembled. They only saw Qin Wentian continuing to take a step forward. Boom! An incomparably immense force shook this entire space. The 4 experts only felt their bodies growing heavier. The gigantic sword and ancient halberd that were whistling through the air exuded a violent devilish might, as well as the power of destruction and suppression contained within. Qin Wentian's footsteps didn't stop. He continued moving forward. His devil might towered up into the sky, engulfing the entire space. How are you going to kill me? Qin Wentian's voice was extremely domineering. He was like a descendant of the demon god, looking down on the world. His footsteps were extremely fast. He directly crossed the space and descended in front of the experts of the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom. He punched out, and the guardian divine elephant was completely in sync with the movements of his hands. They launched an attack, like a real divine elephant, rushing out to fight against the experts of the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom. The experts of the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom roared. Their palms blasted out endless light spots. Each light spot was like a giant elephant. The collision between the two forces caused the void to tremble. Roar! The white tiger demon king roared. His golden body blasted out towards Qin Wentian's guardian divine elephant. Beside Qin Wentian, a phantom rushed out with lightning speed, directly breaking through Qin Wentian's guardian divine elephant and transformed into a golden heaven-devouring beast. Its entire body exuded the tyrannical aura of a king. It opened its mouth and instantly devoured the essence of the heavens and earth, devouring the energy of the myriad existences, completely devouring the attack of the white tiger demon king. Many experts who didn't know that Little Rascal's true body was a heaven-devouring beast stared in shock at this scene. Wasn't the talent of this heaven-devouring beast a little too tyrannical? After devouring the attack of the white tiger demon king, Little Rascal actually instantly turned and devoured the attacks of the experts of the 9 Emperors' immortal state. The entire space turned chaotic as the energy of the divine elephant was directly devoured into Little Rascal's mouth. King-devouring beast golden vortex. Everyone stared at the chaotic battlefield. When Little Rascal opened his mouth to devour, a series of golden runes appeared in the sky, transforming into a golden vortex that spanned 100 miles, absorbing all the energy into his mouth. Such a powerful attack, how would Little Rascal digest it after devouring it? Was the talent of a true peak-level Saint Beast really so terrifying? AI, are you trying to tickle me? Such a weak attack. Little White Tiger, aren't you too weak? If you continue like this, I will eat you up. Little Rascal's immature voice rang out, causing the experts of the White Tiger people to turn ashen from anger. They, the White Tiger people, were also powerful Saint Beasts. Yet, they were actually being humiliated like this. Not only that, their opponent was also a demonic beast. Roar! This was simply ridiculous. The White Tiger Demon King let out 3 roars, unleashing even more powerful innate techniques. However, Little Rascal continued to devour the energy of the divine elephant. The entire space was filled with golden runes, transforming into a vortex that could devour everything. On the other side, the experts of the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom and Shangguangjiani from the Supreme Sword School surrounded Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian's divine elephant was already covered in cracks. Shangguangjiani's attacks were truly powerful. He stood in the air with sword-type astral souls behind him. With a wave of his palms, a myriad of swords manifested, resembling swords from the myriad of constellations, slamming into the shadow of Qin Wentian's divine elephant. The myriad of swords formed a terrifying diagram, stabbing into every corner of the divine elephant. While Qin Wentian was fighting against the immortal king of the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom, Shangguangjiani wanted to break through Qin Wentian's defense. This sword technique. He actually wants to form a supremely powerful sword formation. The hearts of the spectators were filled with shock. Shangguangjiani was truly terrifying, as expected of a supreme character from the Supreme Sword School. However, this Qin Wentian was even more terrifying. After his bloodline power erupted, the power of his defense actually grew to such an extent. Even experts with a higher cultivation base than him had to use all their strength before they could break through. Only to see that in the center of the golden diagram formed by the myriad of swords, a single point appeared. Shangguangjiani waved his hand as millions of sword astral light appeared. A sword so sharp that it hurt the eyes of the spectators descended. He directly pointed his finger at the point in the center of the sword formation, and in an instant, the entire sword formation started to move. That gigantic sword in the air pierced through space, landing on the divine elephant. Break! Only to see Shangguangjiani coldly speaking. In an instant, countless cracks appeared on the divine elephant, before it finally crumbled apart. The sword formation vanished as well, and Qin Wentian's figure was finally exposed before them. They could directly attack him. Shangguangjiani stepped out, slashing out with his sword. Qin Wentian lifted his hand and punched out, destroying it. However, he only saw Shangguangjiani standing in the air, exuding an incomparably cold arrogance as he spoke. Without your defense, how can you resist? Qin Wentian suddenly laughed. Shangguangjiani frowned as he stared at Qin Wentian. What are you laughing at? I'm laughing at your ignorance. Qin Wentian mockingly laughed. After so long, you only managed to break through my defense, yet you are still so complacent? I truly feel shame for your Supreme Sword School. Such a person is also a supreme character of the Supreme Sword School. Today shall be the date of your death. Earlier, I've already tested how strong your defense is. Next, I shall let you all experience how strong my attacks are. As he spoke, Qin Wentian's aura of annihilation soared up, enveloping this entire space. God's Hand Law Domain appeared, as well as the Divine Elephant Law Domain. The Shadow Protector manifested once more, alternating between a Divine Elephant and a Xuanwu. Do you think my defense is just a one-time thing? I can unleash it at any time, yet you all can't even break through it? Qin Wentian laughed uproariously. At this instant, the expressions of Shangguangjiani and the experts from the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom stiffened. They stared at the greater demon protector as they felt chills running down their spines. The experts below were all stunned. This peak-level mid-stage immortal king actually couldn't even break through his defense? Qin Wentian's greater demon protector could be unleashed continuously. What did this signify? This meant that unless one's attack could break through his defense in an instant, he would be able to unleash a never-ending stream of attacks. If not, how would they be able to defeat him? Earlier, I was merely playing around with you all. Next, it's my turn to attack. Qin Wentian stretched out his hands as boundless devil might envelop this space. Tens of thousands of devils howled as the God's Hand domain enveloped the area. The greater demon protector around Qin Wentian transformed into a gigantic rock, resembling a golden-winged rock. Bzzz. A great rock flashed by as Qin Wentian's body vanished completely. That greater demon protector actually transformed into a true golden-winged rock, arcing through the air and unleashing demonic arts of the great rock, aiming for the immortal king of the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom. That expert from the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom retreated. He pressed his palm forward, manifesting a manifestation of 10,000 elephants. However, the great rock directly tore a hole in the defense and shot towards the immortal king of the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom, ignoring the attacks coming from other directions. This was how arrogant his defense was. Scram! The immortal king of the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom roared. However, when the great rock arrived before him, it suddenly transformed into a divine elephant. As Qin Wentian stepped out, a terrifying boom rang out, causing the immortal king of the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom to be unable to move. The greater demon protector can instantly transform, even replacing Qin Wentian to unleash attacks. It's like his true self attacking. How terrifying! The crowd mused. Shangguangjiani watched this scene from the back as waves of shock rose in his heart. After that, he saw the divine elephant trampling the heavens and earth, frenziedly rushing towards the Skymist Immortal King. When the Skymist Immortal King went all out, Qin Wentian took out a gigantic devil's saber and directly slashed down. At this instant, that devil's saber slashed apart the void. Qin Wentian alone was able to unleash two completely different attacks at the same time. It was like two supremely terrifying characters were fighting at the same time and they were cooperating perfectly. When the immortal king of the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom blocked the divine elephant's attack, a destructive devil's saber manifested in the middle. A black-colored devilish bolt of lightning shot down, and after that, that powerful immortal king of the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom was directly split apart by that saber. His body exploded as he died. A peak-stage mid-stage immortal king was killed by a single saber strike. His soul disintegrated. Qin Wentian was simply too tyrannical. Chapter 1432. The experts of the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom all had heavy expressions on their faces, extremely unsightly to behold. A peak-stage mid-stage immortal king with overwhelming combat prowess was a great loss to them. Not only that, Qin Wentian was a royal character. They provoked Qin Wentian and ganged up on Qin Wentian. Yet they were all killed on the spot. How ridiculous was this? This brat must die. We must not allow him to live no matter what. The stronger Qin Wentian grew, the more intense their killing intent towards Qin Wentian became. As the hatred between both sides deepened, Qin Wentian would surely view the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom with hatred. They mustn't allow him to continue growing. His growth was simply too fast. Before the adjudication battle, he was still an insignificant minor character and didn't attract too much attention. But how many years has it been since then? He could actually already kill peak stage, mid-stage immortal kings. Also, as he grew, the powers around him grew stronger as well. Even the Southern Phoenix matriarch had personally expressed her stance. If they continued to let Qin Wentian live, he would surely be uncontrollable in the future. On the other side, Little Rascal was still frenziedly devouring the attacks of the experts from the White Tiger people and the Nine Emperors' immortal state. These two supreme characters wanted to join forces to kill this heaven-devouring beast, but they actually had no way to do so. They could only watch on as Qin Wentian slaughtered the immortal kings of the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom. After that, he turned to face Shangguang Jiani. At this moment, the sword might radiating from Shangguang Jiani was as violent as ever. He was protected by a screen of swords and was like a paragon of swords. Around him, every strand of aura contained a powerful sword intent. But at this moment, Shangguang Jiani's gaze was filled with an unprecedented heaviness. He stared at Qin Wentian, his sharp eyes filled with an intense trepidation. There was no longer any trace of contempt or arrogance in them. Both his hands folded into a series of seals as the blood in his body started to seethe. In the space between the heavens and earth, a boundless amount of sword qi gushed forth, enveloping this entire space, exuding an incomparably intense pressure. Shangguang Jiani's hands folded into an incomparably profound and mysterious seal. After that, he stabbed out with his finger, and in just an instant the wind and clouds changed. Kill! Shangguang Jiani spat out a voice. All things in the world transformed into swords. Every single strand of spiritual qi in the world seemed to transform into sword qi, slashing out at Qin Wentian. As a top genius of the Supreme Sword School, even if he felt threatened by Qin Wentian, he still had to face this battle. He could not back down. The Supreme Sword Formation of the Supreme Sword School? Many experts felt their hearts trembling. The protector divine elephant around Qin Wentian was still radiating with terrifying runic light. Rumbling sounds rang out unceasingly as the sharp swords slammed into the barrier of light, emitting terrifying sounds. At the same time, in the space around Qin Wentian, countless swords slashed down unceasingly, enveloping Qin Wentian within a radius of several hundred miles. Just by looking at it from afar, it was sufficient to cause the hearts of those watching to tremble. Busy. The divine elephant transformed into a great rock once more. Spreading its wings, it shot forth with a speed akin to a golden bolt of lightning, piercing through space. Its wings were even sharper than the sharpest swords, unceasingly slashing apart the swords in this space as it shot towards Shangguang Jiani. The instant Shangguang Jian saw Qin Wentian moving forward, both of his hands formed ancient imprints and blasted them towards Qin Wentian. The countless swords in the air emitted terrifying screeches as they transformed into a towering sword formation. Resplendent sword diagrams lit up, shining with resplendent light as a sword imprint imprinted itself onto Qin Wentian's body. In that instant, Qin Wentian could faintly sense that he was locked down by a supreme sword might. He could feel a sense of danger. Seems like Shangguang Jiani was about to unleash his strongest attack. As expected of Jiani, the Supreme Sword Formation can summon a true paragon sword. This sword has already locked onto Qin Wentian. The might of the countless swords gathered together, transforming into a single sword. I don't believe it can't kill him. The experts from the Supreme Sword School heaved a sigh of relief when they saw this scene, feeling proud of Shangguang Jiani. The sword formation was formed, ghosts and gods cried. Qin Wentian was already locked down. There was no way for him to escape. Staring at Qin Wentian unceasingly breaking through the defense of the sword formation, Shangguang Jiani's eyes flashed with decisiveness. He stared up at the sky as he roared in rage. The paragon sword is unleashed, annihilating everything. When the sword formation is formed, ghosts and gods can be exterminated. As the sound of his voice faded, that terrifying sword formation summoned a supreme sword. This sword seemed to have appeared from the void. Or maybe it was just an illusory shadow, flickering in and out of existence, directly appearing above Qin Wentian. The sword imprinted itself onto Qin Wentian's body, locking him down. When this sword descended, it would definitely land on Qin Wentian. There was no suspense at all. This sword strike would definitely kill Qin Wentian. Combine! Qin Wentian roared. A moment later, the countless palm imprints in his god's hand converged into a gigantic palm imprint that merged together above Qin Wentian. Kill! Shangguang Jiani roared. His killing intent engulfed the heavens and earth. As the sound of his voice faded, the boundless sword diagram radiated boundless light, summoning the paragon sword. A sword shadow shot out from the void, penetrating through everything, directly colliding with the gigantic palm imprint. With a thunderous boom, the palm imprint was destroyed. Second kill. Shangguang Jiani roared again. That gigantic sword diagram was still as resplendent as ever. Qin Wentian inclined his head, his eyes gleaming with tyranny. He punched out with his fist, causing the guardian greater demon to transform into a sky rock and unleash a sky rock demonic art. Numerous great rocks soared up into the sky, colliding with the summoned paragon sword and shattering it once again. Third kill. Shangguang Jiani roared. He stepped out as the might of the sword formation intensified. This sword formation was boundless. There was no end to it. This was the only method Shangguang Jiani could use to kill Qin Wentian. Only this endless stream of attacks would be able to ignore Qin Wentian's super strong defense. Qin Wentian frenziedly attacked, blocking all the incoming swords. However, he knew that as long as the sword formation wasn't destroyed, this threat would never be resolved. I want to see how you are going to block this, Shangguang Jiani coldly spoke, causing the hearts of the spectators to tremble. It was truly rare to see such a powerful battle. This Shangguang Jiani's strength was truly terrifying. Compared to the mid-stage peak-stage immortal king from the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom, they weren't even on the same level. Qin Wentian's eyes flashed with arrogance when he heard this. His bloodline had awakened, increasing his combat prowess by more than twofold. In addition to the ultimate arts and innate techniques he cultivated, so what if Shangguang Jiani's cultivation base was higher than his? So what if Shangguang Jiani's sword formation was stronger than his? So what if Shangguang Jiani's sword formation was stronger than his? So what if Shangguang Jiani's sword formation was stronger than his? Who says I'm going to block? Qin Wentian roared. The devil might in the air churned intensely as a devilish shadow appeared. A devil's saber appeared in Qin Wentian's hand. His eyes gleamed with a supreme will as he slashed the saber towards the sky. A bolt of black lightning arced through the air, colliding with the incoming sword might, destroying both of them. Jiansheng. Shangguang Jiani coldly spoke. No matter how strong your attack is, I'll destroy it with a single saber strike. The devil will grow even more tyrannical, ignoring all existences. With the devil's saber in his hand, the energy of heaven and earth gushed forth, causing the 10,000 sword intents to whimper, wanting to submit to the might of the saber. Rise! Qin Wentian slashed out with his saber once more, exuding a supreme saber intent that destroyed yet another wave of sword might. He soared through the air, moving towards his opponent, getting closer to Shangguang Jiani. Shangguang Jiani's expression was extremely unsightly to behold. Even such a powerful sword couldn't kill him? I don't believe it. Shangguang Jiani inclined his head as he spoke. Thunderous rumbling sounds rang out as a supremely powerful sword manifested in the air, radiating a destructive light as it slashed down towards Qin Wentian. The devil's saber in Qin Wentian's hand gleamed with an extremely powerful devil light as he activated God's hand. He stared at the sky and slashed out, causing the 8 greater demons to rush out together with the saber light. Boom! An intense collision rang out in the air. Qin Wentian's countenance was expressionless. He stared at Shangguang Jiani as he spoke. Since you want to kill me, you can only die. As he spoke, he slashed out with his saber. Shangguang Jiani's countenance turned pale. The imprints in his hands shot out as sword chi akin to dragons, blocking Qin Wentian's devil's saber. But at the same time, a formless saber intent directly penetrated through everything, piercing into Shangguang Jiani's sea of consciousness. At this moment, he only felt his soul trembling as his body trembled. The boundless sword might radiating from him was about to be extinguished. Another beam of saber light flashed as Shangguang Jiani's body was slashed apart at the waist. After that, under the violent might of the saber, his body was directly transformed into nothingness. Jian 1. The people from the Supreme Sword School roared when they saw this ending. On the other side, the battle was also incomparably intense. The heaven-devouring beast fought against two powerful experts, and after devouring the majority of their attacks, Little Rascal actually grinned at the white tiger that was rushing over. After which, he opened his mouth and let out a thunderous roar. As the sound of his roar faded, boundless killing intent gushed forth from his mouth, transforming into a tempest of destruction that directly engulfed the white tiger. That incomparably terrifying attack actually contained the power of the white tiger people, as well as the power of the 9 Emperors' immortal state. It was as though Little Rascal had spat out the attack he swallowed earlier, using it against his opponent, killing a demon king of the white tiger people. This is the true talent of our royal clan. Such an innate ability, only those of the royal clan would have it. Not far away, an aged figure sighed, feeling incomparably agitated. Even if it was a power stronger than the heaven-devouring beast, he could still devour it and store it within his body, refining the energy within. When he needed it, he could even spit it out and use it as an attack. Not only was Qin Wentian powerful, even a demonic beast was terrifying to such an extent. Everyone was deeply shocked. Not good. The experts from the 9 Emperors' immortal state roared. They saw Qin Wentian and Little Rascal rushing towards the last remaining immortal king of the 9 Emperors' immortal state. Stop the battle. The immortal emperor of the 9 Emperors' immortal state coldly roared, wanting to stop the battle. Impudent. The Southern Phoenix matriarch coldly snorted. The shadow of a phoenix directly appeared, blocking in front of him, not allowing anyone to disturb this battle. Arg! A moment later, a scream of misery rang out. The immortal king of the 9 Emperors' immortal state died. All 4 of them were killed. Qin Wentian and the heaven-devouring beast stood proudly in the air, exuding an unexcelled aura. Qin Wentian's silhouette flashed as he appeared on the back of the heaven-devouring beast. Purgatory, who was behind him, also appeared. Her voluptuous figure and alluring beauty obediently stood behind Qin Wentian. Who else wants to challenge me? I will accompany you to the end. No matter how many of you come, I will kill them all. If you don't dare to come, just scram. Qin Wentian roared. The heaven-devouring beast continued forward, ignoring everything and prepared to leave the Demon God Mountain. Chapter 1433. On the ancient path of the Demon God Mountain, experts were as common as clouds. There were many immortal emperors and demon emperors, but right now, the most famous character was none other than Qin Wentian. Not long after he broke through to the mid-stage of the immortal king realm, he actually dared to challenge 4 peak stage Empyrean kings from the 4 peak powers. Together with his demonic beast companion, he killed all 4 of them, not leaving a single one alive. That earlier battle left a deep impression on everyone. Regardless of his bloodline power, innate techniques or law domain, all of them were incomparably tyrannical. Such combat prowess was truly unparalleled. Also, that heavenly devourer beast was too terrifying. His strength was shocking and he had boundless potential. In the future, when he matured, it was unknown how terrifying he would be. If he matured into a demon emperor, most probably, even the various Saint Beast kings of the desolate 10,000 mountain range would have no way to contend against him. Thankfully, heaven-devouring beasts were extremely rare, and didn't belong to any of their species. Only a single heaven-devouring beast was protected by a demon emperor. Even still, it was terrifying with its enormous body and 9 heads. It was a terrifying sight to behold. Interesting. Those experts who ascended to the peak of the Demon God Mountain together with Qin Wentian all had smiles on their faces. As expected of someone who could enter the palace at the peak of the Demon God Mountain, his combat prowess was truly extraordinary, able to sweep through all opponents at the same level. Ziyu, you didn't misjudge this young man. He is truly powerful and has already surpassed you by quite a bit. At the location where the experts of the Jiang clan gathered, Jiang Zihua spoke to Jiang Ziyu. Jiang Ziyu nodded. His talent was extraordinary, but he was still gradually being left behind by Qin Wentian. However, he wasn't discouraged. He believed that his talent was extremely high, and as long as he stabilized his foundation, there would definitely be a place for him in the immortal realms in the future. In the direction of the 9 Emperors' immortal state, the experts were all enraged. Huang Shatian stood among them and stared at that extraordinary silhouette, speechless in his heart. Leaving aside Qin Wentian, even Qin Wentian's demonic beast companion had surpassed him. This caused him to suffer a huge mental blow. It was most probably impossible for him to surpass Qin Wentian. The immortal emperor beside him glanced at Huang Shatian with an unsightly expression. Before this, when he saw Huang Shatian being discouraged, he sent someone to kill Qin Wentian, hoping that Huang Shatian would be able to regain his conviction and continue exploring the path of immortals, climbing to the peak. However, things didn't go as he wished. Not only did he fail to kill Qin Wentian, it became a stage for Qin Wentian instead. Qin Wentian's radiance was dazzling, suppressing the geniuses of the various major powers as he advanced on the ancient path of the Demon God Mountain. Qin Wentian and Little Rascal continued forward. With the Southern Phoenix Matriarch and the Chongqing the Great around, there were no immortal emperors who dared to kill them. If the Southern Phoenix Matriarch and the Chongqing the Great were angered, they could also wipe them out. Many people from the various major powers came here. Once the flames of war were ignited, the consequences would be dire. In addition, there was also the threat of the greater demons from the desolate mountains. During the 10 years since the Demon God Mountain appeared, it was unknown how many greater demons have evolved, threatening the immortal realms. If the desolate mountains invaded the immortal realms, the flames of war would surely be ignited. Staring at Qin Wentian, the Southern Phoenix Matriarch, Chongqing the Great and the other experts also stepped out. The experts of the immortal realms were preparing to return. Now that the divine relic on the Demon God Mountain has vanished, it was time for them to return. Those greater demons from the desolate mountains stood on top of the Demon God Mountain, their eyes gleaming with sharpness as they stared at the experts of the immortal realms. Their eyes flickered with excitement. Since a very long time ago, they wanted to see how prosperous the immortal realms were. Now that the desolate mountains have appeared, they were unstoppable. At this moment, Qin Wentian, who was standing on the back of Little Rascal, suddenly felt a sense of danger. He abruptly inclined his head and stared at the air. In the next instant, a stifling pressure bore down on him. After that, he only saw a fist piercing through space, opening up a spatial passageway, directly punching towards him Qin Wentian. That fist seemed to originate from the void, yet the fist light swept through the heavens and earth, exuding a heaven-shaking might. The experts in the surroundings all felt their bodies trembling as many of them retreated. Qin Wentian's countenance grew incredibly unsightly to behold. Who was it that dared to act against him? This fist attack locked onto him, penetrating through the heavens and earth, wanting to crush everything. It was basically impossible for him to defend against such a supreme might. This was Emperor Might. An immortal emperor actually acted against Qin Wentian, wanting to kill him. Impudent! The evergreen immortal emperor coldly snorted. He stretched out his palm and an instant later, an evergreen vine manifested around Qin Wentian, enveloping him within as it soared up into the air, transforming into a gigantic vine. Qin Wentian's fist light blasted through the air, slamming into the vine. The terrifying energy directly penetrated through the vine, tearing it apart. However, this attack was also blocked by Qin Wentian. Eastern Sage. Chongqing the Great coldly spoke. As the sound of his voice faded, several attacks shot through the air. All of them were fist lights. Fist might filled the sky, enveloping the entire ancient pathway. Many immortal emperors all unleashed their might, protecting their juniors and juniors, preventing them from being destroyed by the aftershocks. The demon, the arch-heaven-devouring beast, took a step forward as his eyes gleamed with a demonic light. With a roar of rage, all 9 of his heads opened their mouths at the same time and swallowed towards the void, as though he wanted to devour the entire sky. In an instant, a terrifying black hole appeared in the sky as the destructive fist light was all sucked into the black hole. After which, the heaven-devouring demon, the arch, sucked it all into his body. Eastern Sage. Qin Wentian's eyes flashed. As expected, Eastern Sage truly wanted to kill him. However, why did the Dongxing Heaven Emperor dare to act at this moment? Could it be that he was confident that he could kill him in front of the Chongqing the Great and the Southern Phoenix Matriarch? In addition, this attack contained a fearsome spatial energy. The Dongxing Heaven Emperor didn't cultivate any spatial attribute energy. In that case, there was only one possibility. The Dongxing Heaven Emperor must have borrowed the power of an emperor-rank treasure when he attacked. At this moment, boundless fist light filled the air, enveloping the space above the demon god mountain ancient path. The sky changed color as boundless destructive might cascaded downwards, blasting towards the evergreen immortal emperor. The heaven-devouring demon emperor also moved forward, both of them unleashing attacks to block the fist might. Boom! At this moment, a beam of violet light shot through the sky, shattering everything. Zidi! Qin Wentian's expression turned unsightly. Zidi's silhouette appeared in the air. His long robes fluttered as he unleashed a heaven-shaking attack. The Southern Phoenix matriarch stepped out, exuding boundless grace. Her clothes fluttered in the wind as she stretched out her hand. A moment later, a crimson palm imprint in the form of a phoenix appeared, colliding with the violet palm imprint. Two beams of light manifested, transforming into destructive might that gushed outwards in all directions. The aftershocks from the collision blasted into the ancient pathway, instantly tearing apart the entire mountain range as countless cracks appeared. Zidi's attack blasted out again. The Southern Phoenix matriarch snorted coldly and waved her hand to block. But at this moment, a beam of light directly penetrated through everything, blasting into Qin Wentian. In an instant, the space around Qin Wentian seemed to have been stripped away. It's the heaven-seizing bull. The treasure of the heaven-seizing great emperor. Someone exclaimed in shock. Qin Wentian's body was directly absorbed by the beam of light, flying far away, ignoring all attacks. Stay here. Chongqing the Great roared in rage, unleashing a terrifying attack. However, the heaven-seizing bull had already been activated, creating a spatial passageway. The sky was in chaos as a powerful beam of light shot through the air, causing the weather to change. Young master! The experts from the battle Saint Tribal turned pale. Little Rascal roared in rage. Purgatory's countenance turned pale. That attack directly locked onto Qin Wentian, wanting to drag him away. It was simply too tyrannical. The Southern Phoenix matriarch had a cold expression on her face. Her long robe seemed to be burning as a boundless divine glow radiated from her. In an instant, the entire divine mountain seemed to be on fire, transforming into a world of flames. Her eyes stared at the passageway for seizing the heavens. In just an instant, the passageway started burning as an ancient phoenix soared through the air, letting out roars of rage, wanting to incinerate the entire passageway. What a terrifying power! Countless people inclined their heads and stared at the sky. This battle actually involved immortal emperors. In fact, there was even the shadow of the heaven-seizing immortal emperor behind them. As for the Southern Phoenix matriarch, she also erupted forth with her supreme might. The heaven-seizing passageway was already formed, but the terrifying flames disrupted its laws. Another beam of light shot over. The Southern Phoenix matriarch's countenance turned cold. She formed hand seals as her phoenix wings blotted out the sky, blocking the beam of light. If you can't be captured alive, just kill him directly. A calm voice rang out. After that, the spatial energy that enveloped Qin Wentian tore everything apart, growing even more violent. Qin Wentian screamed in misery as his entire body was torn apart. Fresh blood flowed everywhere. He was in an extremely miserable state. He took out his treasured cauldron and dove into it. Get lost. A cold voice rang out. The beam of light distorted, no longer having a clear direction. The treasured cauldron that Qin Wentian hid in seemed to be swaying in the wind and rain. After that, a spatial passageway appeared as the treasured cauldron flew towards a certain direction. A phoenix feather appeared in the hands of the Southern Phoenix matriarch. She directly waved it out, and in an instant, the treasured cauldron seemed to have a pair of terrifying wings attached to it, directly vanishing from sight. The spatial energy was also disrupted. After that, the treasured cauldron vanished from this space. No one knew where it went. The Southern Phoenix matriarch is borrowing the power of space to send Qin Wentian away. In addition, she directly broke the spatial connection so that the Southern Phoenix matriarch wouldn't be able to locate Qin Wentian. An immortal emperor silently mused when he saw this scene. The Southern Phoenix matriarch was truly powerful and her methods were decisive. The Southern Phoenix matriarch truly lives up to your reputation. A voice rang out through the air. Heaven-seizing immortal emperor, what status do you have? You actually dared to act against a junior? The Southern Phoenix matriarch coldly spoke. Haha, in the immortal realms, who doesn't know what sort of character I, heaven seizing, am? How can I be bound by rules and morals? My actions cannot be obstructed by the heavens. That voice was incomparably tyrannical. Who asked Eastern Sage to beg me? I naturally have to satisfy him. Eastern Sage, for the sake of killing Qin Wentian, you actually didn't hesitate to sell yourself out? The Chongqing the Great spoke. What sort of character was the heaven-seizing immortal emperor? Everyone in the immortal realms was very clear. This man was a terrifying character and had always been lawless, doing whatever he wanted. People referred to him as the heaven-seizing immortal emperor, and there were also people who referred to him as the old devil Duotian. Since Eastern Sage wanted him to do something, he would definitely have to pay a terrifying price. You guys better not speak nonsense. Eastern Sage has already joined this seat as a disciple. The heaven-seizing immortal emperor calmly spoke, his words causing the hearts of everyone to tremble. They were all thinking that Eastern Sage must have gone crazy. A lofty immortal emperor, a hegemon of a generation, actually submitted to the old devil Duotian. Chapter 1434. The Southern Phoenix Matriarch and Chongqing the Great both felt some worry. Eastern Sage was too ruthless, he must have gone crazy. He was a mid-stage immortal emperor, and was once the hegemon of the Eastern Sage 13 prefectures. Although the Dongshengshan Gate he led was defeated by the immortal Qinbian Gate, his cultivation base was still there. No matter where he went, he would always be a major character. However, it was very clear that there was only hatred in Eastern Sage's eyes. His goal was to kill Qin Wentian by Wuya and Emperor Qianbian, all the people who implicated him in the destruction of the Dongshengshan Gate and the deaths of his descendants. Qin Wentian had the Emperor Qianbian, the Evergreen clan, and even Emperor Yu's Namhuang clan behind him. In addition, Qin Wentian himself was also very cautious, not giving him any chances. His strength continued to grow stronger and stronger. Hence, he chose to enter Old Devil Duotian's tutelage. Even if he had to pay an extremely high price, he didn't mind it. This time around, he should already be dead, right? The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor's voice drifted over from the spatial emperor-ranked weapon, the heaven-seizing bowl. How powerful was Old Devil Duotian's attack? Even if Qin Wentian hid and was sent away by the Southern Phoenix Matriarch, the power of that attack should have been enough to kill him. Most probably, even his bones would have been shattered. Old Devil Duotian, what price did Eastern Sage pay? Are you willing to become enemies with me just to help him? The Southern Phoenix Matriarch coldly spoke, her tone filled with unfriendliness. Southern Phoenix, you are extremely beautiful and powerful. You are one of the few people in the immortal realms that this seat would take a liking to. Why don't you marry this seat and we can join forces? From now on in the immortal realms, who would dare to go against us husband and wife? Old Devil Duotian laughed. The eyes of the Southern Phoenix Matriarch flashed with coldness. Old Devil, I will remember what happened today. Haha. You are welcome to look for me anytime. When have I Duotian ever feared anyone? If Southern Phoenix comes to look for me, I will be filled with anticipation. Old Devil Duotian laughed uproariously. After which, the light screen dissipated as well as the auras of the Eastern Sage Immortal Emperor and Duotian Immortal Emperor. This entire space was silent. Chongqing the Great spoke in a low voice. I didn't expect Eastern Sage to actually become a disciple of the Old Devil. This Old Devil is extremely greedy and disregards all rules. Nobody can do anything to him. Eastern Sage has truly gone crazy. He actually begged the Old Devil for help. He must have paid an unimaginable price. Seems like Eastern Sage has gone crazy after that battle. I wonder where that little fellow is now. I can only wish him good luck. The Southern Phoenix Matriarch spoke in a light voice. Chongqing the Great looked worried. If Qing'er knew about this, she would be very upset. It seemed that he should not tell Qing'er for the time being. Roar. A low-sounding roar rang out. Little Rascal stared at the air as his eyes turned golden, appearing extremely terrifying. Little fellow, in the future, you should continue to follow your elders. The Southern Phoenix Matriarch glanced at Little Rascal as she spoke in a low voice. That heaven-devouring demon emperor nodded. He would naturally take good care of Little Rascal. Let's go. The Southern Phoenix Matriarch spoke in a light voice. After that, she stepped out and descended the mountain. The expressions of the experts here were all different. The people from the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom and the Supreme Sword School were naturally happy. Qin Wentian had killed so many people that they lost a lot of face. This fellow Eastern sage was truly ruthless enough. He actually became a disciple of Old Devil Duo Tian and made Old Devil Duo Tian act for him. This time around, even if he didn't manage to kill Qin Wentian, he would definitely suffer. Huang Shaishan's eyes flashed with a strange light. Would Qin Wentian really die? The experts all left, soaring through the air. The Demon God Mountain transformed back into a mountain range that simply sat on the desolate mountains. It was no longer mystical, but during these 10 years, countless greater demons of the desolate mountains had evolved. In this region, there were simply too many greater demons. At this moment, tens of thousands of demons appeared, causing the earth to tremble. This scene was simply too terrifying. Many experts of the immortal realm soared through the air. When they saw the number of greater demons blotting out the sky, worry appeared in their hearts. Most probably, the humans of the immortal realms wouldn't be able to avoid a huge commotion. In the boundlessly vast immortal realms, the number of major powers was the highest in the central regions. The Snowdrift Sage Hall was one of the peak powers in the central regions. Those who truly joined the Snowdrift Sage Hall were all females. As a peak power, the Snowdrift Sage Hall naturally controlled an immense amount of power and authority in this vast region. The Cold Nether Immortal Lake was one of the cultivation grounds of the Snowdrift Sage Hall. This immortal lake flowed with cold nether energy and was extremely suitable for the disciples of the Snowdrift Sage Hall to cultivate. In fact, the city where the Cold Nether Immortal Lake was located was named after the Cold Nether Immortal City. The Cold Nether Immortal Lake was located in the central region of the Cold Nether Immortal City. It was a cultivation ground that belonged solely to the Snowdrift Sage Hall and was guarded by many experts. There would often be disciples of the Snowdrift Sage Hall coming here to cultivate, not allowing outsiders to enter. At this moment, the Cold Nether Immortal Lake was filled with Cold Nether Immortal Qi. The Immortal Lake was located in the middle of a mountain, and the mountain was located in the center of the city. There were many experts guarding the Immortal Lake. All of them were females. There would often be disciples from the Snowdrift Sage Hall coming here to bathe in the Cold Nether Immortal Lake. They naturally wouldn't allow anyone to barge in and disturb them. There were many female disciples at the Cold Nether Immortal Lake. All of them were clad in skin-tight clothing as they hid within the misty lake. Their voluptuous bodies were faintly discernible, and their figures were all excellent. In fact, some of them were dressed in extremely sexy attire, with only a few pieces of cloth on them. By cultivating in the lake, they would be able to come into contact with the Cold Nether Immortal Qi and absorb it into their bodies. Outsiders wouldn't be able to enter this place. There was naturally no need for them to worry. Qingyi, I heard that your cultivation base improved again. Why are you cultivating so desperately? Did you receive some sort of stimulation? At this moment, a beautiful woman with a sexy figure stared at a woman opposite her. That woman had her eyes closed and her skin was as fair as jade. Her face was also extremely beautiful. What does it have to do with you? The woman referred to as Qingyi coldly spoke. No matter what, I'm your senior apprentice sister. Can't I even ask? Qingyi, why must you push me 1,000 miles away? That female smiled. Chu Qingyi's eyes were still closed, as though she didn't hear anything. Gotcha. Just as they were speaking, the defensive light barrier in the air seemed to have shattered. A thunderous sound rang out. The woman in the Cold Nether Immortal Lake suddenly raised her head and stared at the sky. An extremely cold light flashed in her eyes. Who is it? Their countenances drastically changed. There was actually someone who dared to barge into the Cold Nether Immortal Lake? Was he courting death? The experts in the mountain range in the air flew out one after another. However, the speed of that figure was simply too fast, like a bolt of lightning descending from the sky. Upon closer inspection, it was actually a human figure. Impudent! Emo Xiaoxiao roared. She waved her palms as a powerful wave of cold nether energy directly enveloped that figure and flung it to the side. After that, that figure changed his direction and smashed into the mountain range at the side. With a thunderous boom, a hole was smashed through the mountain range. Streams of cold energy gushed forth as the women hurriedly put on their clothes. Their killing intent gushed forth. Emo Xiaoxiao couldn't be bothered to bicker with Chu Qingyi anymore. She walked towards the lakeside. This person was simply too audacious. He actually dared to come here to spy on them. He was simply courting death. Chu Qingyi's eyes were still closed. Her clothes were thin, but they covered all the important parts of her body. She wasn't afraid of others peeping on her. As for that audacious person, Emo Xiaoxiao would naturally deal with him. That figure that descended from the sky was none other than Qin Wentian. Even the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor felt that that strike would take Qin Wentian's life. From this, one could very well imagine how terrifying the attack Qin Wentian suffered was. Although it was only for an instant, his body felt like it was about to be torn apart. After rushing into the cauldron, he only left behind a strand of his will as he kept the cauldron. He was worried that when he landed on the ground, he would attract killing intent from the cauldron. At this moment, when he landed on the ground, his body suffered another attack. His body trembled even more violently as his consciousness gradually turned blurry. His eyelids drooped helplessly as he stared at the incoming figures. His vision was extremely blurry, but he could faintly see a group of beautiful women with sexy figures. Naturally, he could also feel the coldness radiating from them. In the next instant, his eyes closed as he lost consciousness. He actually fainted. However, Qin Wentian wasn't worried that he would die from his injuries. Back then, when he condensed his seventh astral soul, there was still a type of attribute energy that could guarantee his survival. However, he was worried that if he fainted, he would be ambushed by others. Emo Xiaoxiao walked over. When she saw the young and handsome figure of Qin Wentian, her gaze turned cold as she spoke. He actually didn't die after receiving an attack from me. This lecherous fellow seems to be an immortal foundation expert. Kill him. Someone walked over exuding a cold aura. On the other side, Chu Qingyi's immortal sense swept over. When she saw that face clearly, her body trembled violently as she roared, "Stay your hand!" Her body directly shot out from the lake. She couldn't care less about her beautiful figure being seen by others. She directly rushed to the side of the mountain rampart. Emo Xiaoxiao and the others turned their heads and stared at her. "Qingyi, what do you mean by this?" Only to see that Chu Qingyi didn't seem to hear her words. She directly rushed to the side of Qin Wentian and stared at the fainted figure. Her heart pounded violently, she didn't know why, but when she saw this face which should have been filled with hatred, her heart would tremble so intensely. "Don't touch him." Walking forward, Chu Qingyi carried Qin Wentian up, causing Emo Xiaoxiao's beautiful eyes to freeze. Although Chu Qingyi's clothes only covered the important parts of her body, she was still extremely sexy. But hugging a man in such a manner wasn't normal at all. "Qingyi, what do you mean by this? This man is so lustful, yet you still want to protect him?" Emo Xiaoxiao coldly laughed. "He's here to look for me." Chu Qingyi glanced at Emo Xiaoxiao and directly walked past her. This sentence should be sufficient for her to get rid of Emo Xiaoxiao's pestering. And as expected, Emo Xiaoxiao's beautiful eyes flickered as she started giggling, an expression of interest on her face. Looking for her? Could it be that Chu Qingyi already had someone in her heart? No wonder. It's just that the man she was in love with couldn't even withstand a single strike. How disappointing. Chapter 1435. Chu Qingyi carried Qin Wentian and continued forward, exiting the cold nether immortal lake. After that, they came to a palace. She placed Qin Wentian down and put on a robe, staring at the unconscious figure before her with a frown on her face. Qin Wentian's injuries were extremely heavy. There was a high possibility that he was blasted down from the air by someone. It was impossible for Emo Xiaoxiao to injure him. Back then in the Tiandao Sacred Academy, Qin Wentian was already strong enough to fight against Huang Shatian. How could a single strike from Emo Xiaoxiao be able to injure Qin Wentian? That was merely her wishful thinking. Although she didn't know what encounters Qin Wentian had after that, it was clear that his strength had improved much faster than her. Who was the one who injured him exactly? How could he be so ruthless? "Should I save you?" Chu Qingyi stared at Qin Wentian. Her state of heart was thrown into chaos by the appearance of Qin Wentian. There was no way for her to calm down. Back then in the Tiandao Sacred Academy, she hated Qin Wentian to the core. Because of him, she was injured and was almost humiliated. Although she was saved by him in the end, he still kept her by his side, torturing her unceasingly, causing her to suffer humiliation that she had never experienced before. But now she couldn't bring herself to hate him. In fact, she even had the thought of saving him. After struggling for a long time, Chu Qingyi carried Qin Wentian up. After that, her silhouette flickered as she left this place. Qin Wentian had yet to recover from his injuries, and it was unknown if his life would be in danger. She herself didn't have the ability to save Qin Wentian. If she wanted to help him, she could only temporarily send him to the City Lord Manor. The City Lord of the Cold Nether Immortal City was a peak-stage immortal king, and was a subordinate power of their Snowdrift Sacred Hall. He should be able to help Qin Wentian. It was just that she didn't wish to go there, but now for the sake of Qin Wentian she could only make a trip there. In the Cold Nether Immortal City, the City Lord Manor was majestic and imposing. Chu Qingyi brought her people here, and no one in the City Lord Manor dared to obstruct her. All of them recognized her. Chu Qingyi entered the City Lord's mansion and came to a residence. A group of experts came to greet them. The person in the lead was a beautiful woman. She had a beautiful appearance and an extraordinary demeanor. She was the young miss of the City Lord's mansion and had a good relationship with Chu Qingyi. "Qingyi, who is this?" The woman couldn't help but ask when she saw Chu Qingyi carrying a man over. "A friend of mine, Lu Yao. Her injuries are very serious. Can you help me?" Chu Qingyi's beautiful eyes looked at Lu Yao. "Qingyi, I will naturally help you. I have a medicinal pill here that was given to me by my father. It's a 7th rank Great Recovery pill. It should be able to protect his life." Lu Yao took out a resplendent immortal pill as a fragrance wafted out, causing Chu Qingyi to feel extremely moved. She then spoke, "Lu Yao, I owe you a favor. Don't worry about it. My father is an alchemist. You should also know that I don't lack medicinal pills." Lu Yao smiled and passed the pill to Chu Qingyi. After that, Chu Qingyi fed the pill to Qin Wentian. Lu Yao felt bewildered in her heart when she saw this scene. She and Chu Qingyi have known each other for a very long time, and it was very rare to see her so nervous about someone. A 7th rank medicinal pill was something that could save an immortal king. Yet, she actually didn't hesitate to give it to a friend. After the pill entered Qin Wentian's body, a medicinal fragrance permeated the air. His blood began to circulate as his skin glowed with a luster, no longer as pale as before. "Seems like it's effective. Don't worry, stellar martial cultivators all have powerful self-recovery abilities. In addition to the effect of this medicinal pill, he will definitely be fine." Lu Yao spoke in a light voice. Chu Qingyi nodded. "If you are worried, I will brew some more medicinal soup for him to consume, allowing him to wake up earlier." Lu Yao smiled and walked out. Chu Qingyi stared at Qin Wentian's countenance in a daze. It was unknown what she was thinking in her heart. Her emotions were extremely complicated. Only after Lu Yao returned did she take the medicinal soup and feed it to Qin Wentian. After consuming it, the color on Qin Wentian's face gradually returned. The medicinal effect was even stronger than before. He should wake up soon. Lu Yao spoke in a light voice. "I'm going out for a walk." Chu Qingyi spoke and walked out. "Qingyi." Lu Yao started as she called out. "Help me take care of him." Chu Qingyi's voice drifted over. Lu Yao completely didn't understand what was going on. She stood beside Qin Wentian and stared at his face while thinking in her heart that Qingyi's standards were extremely high. She was also a holy maiden of the Snowdrift Sage Hall. The person she fancied should definitely be an extraordinary character. At this moment, the energy in Qin Wentian's body automatically circulated. Not long after, he regained control of his consciousness and opened his eyes. A gentle and beautiful countenance appeared in front of him. After sensing his body, he could actually sense the effects of the medicinal pill. He knew that he had suffered extremely heavy injuries. Although his body could recover slowly, this medicinal pill had evidently increased the flow of energy in his body, causing his body to recover rapidly. In just a short period of time, he had already regained consciousness. "Where am I?" Qin Wentian asked. "This is the City Lord Manor. You should rest well and recover from your injuries. The medicinal effect of the Grand Recovery Pill should still be present. Don't waste it and absorb it all. It will be beneficial to you." Lu Yao smiled sweetly. Qin Wentian nodded his head lightly, and started to circulate the energy of the medicinal pill to every part of his body. In the blink of an eye, 7 days passed. During these 7 days, Qin Wentian's recovery was very good. The external injuries on his body gradually recovered, and he could already stand up and walk. Although the internal injuries on his body were more serious, they were also gradually recovering. At this moment he was walking in the courtyard when Lu Yao walked over. She smiled at him. "Why are you up?" "Just taking a walk." Qin Wentian smiled. "Lu Yao, thank you for taking care of me during these few days. I was only entrusted by someone. There's no need to thank me." Lu Yao smiled innocently. "Entrusted by someone?" Qin Wentian curiously asked. "That's right. Holy Maiden Qingyi entrusted me to take care of you. Yet she chose to leave just like that." Lu Yao bitterly smiled as she shook her head. Qin Wentian started. "Holy Maiden Qingyi? You don't know?" Lu Yao stared at Qin Wentian in puzzlement. "The Holy Maiden of the Snowdrift Sacred Hall, Chu Qingyi. She was the one who brought you here when you were heavily injured and asked me to take care of you." Chu Qingyi. Qin Wentian's eyes flashed as he gradually recalled. A figure appeared in his mind as a strange look appeared in his eyes. Back then in the Tiandao Sacred Academy, Chu Qingyi hated him to the core and was tortured by him. Yet she actually saved him? And she even entrusted Lu Yao to take care of him? "Are you going to help just because Chu Qingyi asked you to?" A cold voice drifted over. Lu Yao inclined her head, only to see a group of silhouettes barging into her residence. They soared through the air and descended above her head. "Holy Maiden Mo." Lu Yao's expression changed slightly when she saw Mo Xiaoxiao. "You gave him a grand recovery pill, right?" Mo Xiaoxiao coldly glanced at Qin Wentian and Lu Yao. Qin Wentian remembered that this woman was the one he saw before he fainted. Before he landed on the ground, this woman was the one who attacked him. "Yes." Lu Yao nodded. "Impudent." Mo Xiaoxiao coldly snorted. "The grand cyclic pills concocted by the City Lord Manor are only given to the Snowdrift Sage Hall every year. It's fine if your father gave it to you, but you actually gave it to a lecher? Since this is the case, why don't you just give it to the Snowdrift Sage Hall?" "Holy Maiden, this grand recovery pill belongs to me. I should have the authority to decide who to give it to, right?" Lu Yao inclined her head and stared at Mo Xiaoxiao. "Lu Yao, how can you speak to the Holy Maiden like this? Why are you not apologizing yet?" Beside Mo Xiaoxiao, an extraordinary-looking young man stood proudly as he coldly spoke. "That's right. Why should I apologize?" Lu Yao stubbornly replied. "You are getting more and more outrageous. Are my words useless now? Immediately apologize to the Holy Maiden." The young man coldly spoke again. Lu Yao gritted her teeth, unwilling to accept this. Qin Wentian frowned when he saw this scene. Just when he wanted to speak, a whistling sound drifted over from afar. Chu Qingyi's silhouette flickered as she descended. She coldly spoke. "Mo Xiaoxiao, Lu Feng, what is the meaning of the two of you bullying Lu Yao? What is the meaning of this?" "Chu Qingyi, it's fine if you have an affair, but you actually brought your lover to the Lu clan and even made use of the relationship between you and Lu Yao to swindle the grand recovery pill. Don't you know that our Snowdrift Sage Hall's annual demand for the grand recovery pill is simply insufficient? Yet, you actually wasted it on an insignificant person." Qin Wentian was shocked when he saw Chu Qingyi. He didn't expect that it was really her. Chu Qingyi would actually help him. "Holy Maiden Qingyi, Mo Xiaoxiao is right. As the Holy Maiden of the Snowdrift Sage Hall, Lu Yao naturally wouldn't object to your request. However, a 7th grade grand recovery pill is extremely precious. You used it to treat your man's injuries instead of offering it to the Snowdrift Sage Hall. Isn't this a little too much?" The young man also added. "Are you guys intentionally trying to make things difficult for me?" Chu Qingyi's countenance turned cold. This Mo Xiaoxiao had always been at odds with her. Now she actually wouldn't let go of this matter. Clearly, she was intentionally trying to make things difficult for her. "I've already said it. This grand recovery pill can be considered a favor I Chu Qingyi owe Lu Yao. I will naturally repay her. It has nothing to do with you guys." Chu Qingyi coldly spoke. "Am I the one who consumed this pill?" Qin Wentian took a step forward as he spoke. A moment later, Chu Qingyi and Lu Yao both turned to him. They only saw Chu Qingyi had a complicated expression on her face. When facing Qin Wentian, She actually didn't know what to do. If I consumed it, I will naturally compensate Lu Yao. There's no need for others to repay the debt for me. Qin Wentian spoke. Chu Qingyi's beautiful eyes trembled as she lowered her head, feeling a little disappointed. Did Qin Wentian still hate her? He wasn't willing to accept even a trace of her kindness. You still want it? Mo Xiaoxiao laughed. Do you know the value of a 7th-grade grand recovery pill? With just you alone, what can you use to repay me? The young man also laughed, mockingly staring at Qin Wentian. Did I consume the pill you guys gave me? Qin Wentian stared at Mo Xiaoxiao and Lu Feng as he asked. Although you didn't, it has something to do with us. Mo Xiaoxiao coldly spoke. If you didn't, why are you guys talking so much nonsense? Qin Wentian coldly spoke. Chapter 1436. Naturally. Lu Zhan nodded. How could he concoct a 7th-grade great recovery pill alone? Hence, if it wasn't for the fact that Qin Wentian was heavily injured, Chu Qingyi wouldn't have sent him to the Lu clan in the City Lord Manor. Qin Wentian stared at Chu Qingyi, knowing that she was speaking from the bottom of her heart. He could only sigh silently. Chu Qingyi, we had some grudges in the past, but I've already forgotten them. Now you don't owe me anything, there's no need for you to do this, there's no need for you to rush about. Scram. Chu Qingyi coldly spoke. He actually dared to use this to threaten her? The Lu clan would send some great recovery pills to the Snowdrift Sage Hall every year. However, the Lu clan is merciful and wouldn't take all of them away. They would leave some for those who have done meritorious deeds. It's understandable for you to give it to your daughter. However, Lu Yao didn't keep it for herself and instead gave it to a lecherous man. That man was lusting after beauty and actually dared to barge into the cold nether immortal lake. This was simply disgraceful and he was injured by me. But Lu Yao actually used a great recovery pill to save him and even spoke rudely, saying that this matter has nothing to do with me. What do you think? Very good. Since you said this, we can only invite Lu Yao's father out. The great recovery pill concocted by the Lu clan should have something to do with the City Lord Manor, right? Mo Xiaoxiao coldly snorted. In addition, the City Lord Manor was also extremely complicated. The City Lord Manor was a subsidiary power of the Snowdrift Sage Hall. But for generations, the City Lord Manor had sent many people into the Snowdrift Sage Hall. In fact, some of them even held high positions and had extraordinary statuses. Hence, the City Lord Manor couldn't be treated as an ordinary power. Chu Qingyi's countenance changed. She was very clear what sort of character Qin Wentian was. Back then, how glorious was he in the Tiandao Sacred Academy? He fought against the geniuses of the Tiandao Sacred Academy, and even when facing the encirclement of the various major powers, he was still incomparably arrogant, leading many experts to clash against the enemies and even roasting white tigers for food. Lu Yao is ignorant and made a mistake. I will naturally punish her severely. Lu Zhan spoke. That's right, an old man replied. When the people of the Lu clan saw how resolute Chu Qingyi was, they couldn't help revealing a strange light in their eyes. Mo Xiaoxiao smiled. She was happy to see such an ending. The more Chu Qingyi protected this person, the more interesting it would be. She wanted to see how Chu Qingyi was going to protect him. Lu Zhan said. Lu Yao is not sensible. Holy Virgin, please don't be offended. However, the recover pill has been taken, and nothing you say can help. I still have a recover pill, and I am willing to offer it to you. Qin Wentian, the experts of the Lu clan are as numerous as the clouds. This isn't my power. It's Mo Xiaoxiao's world. Don't be rash, otherwise if they really attack you directly I won't be able to stop them. Chu Qingyi transmitted her voice to Qin Wentian. Bear with it for a while, I'll definitely protect you. Land battle. Mo Xiaoxiao shouted coldly. She didn't give him any face. She said, the recover pill was made by the Lu clan. It wasn't your work alone, right? But I can't forget it. Chu Qingyi smiled. She seemed to be a little sad, and then she turned around and left. She knew that people like Qin Wentian hated her from the beginning. Now, he definitely wouldn't have much of a good impression of her. She didn't ask for anything. She just followed her heart. She couldn't let anything happen to Qin Wentian here. Now, although he was injured, his pride wasn't something that Mo Xiaoxiao and Lu Feng could insult. Yes. Someone nodded. After that, Mo Xiaoxiao and the others all left. Lu Zhanfei remained here alone. He stared at Chu Qingyi, and then coldly glanced at Qin Wentian. Qingyi, if you agree to marry me, Aunt will definitely not pursue this matter. Although I don't know what your cultivation base is, the current you can kill him with a single slap. You consumed the recover pill of my Lu clan, yet you still dare to be so arrogant? Lu Feng coldly laughed. Kill him to prove your Dao heart. Qingyi, only by doing so will the Snowdrift Sage Hall not punish you. If not, no matter how outstanding your talent is, the Snowdrift Sage Hall will definitely be disappointed in you if you act so recklessly. At this moment a voice rang out. The person who spoke was a white-robed young man with long hair. He was extraordinarily handsome and exuded an aura of elegance. This person's cultivation base was at the peak of Immortal Foundation and was extraordinary. His name was Lu Zhanfei, and he had an extremely good relationship with Mo Xiaoxiao. He was a core descendant of the Snowdrift Sage Hall and had outstanding talent. He was also the nephew of Mo Xiaoxiao's elder in the Snowdrift Sage Hall, and was highly regarded by the entire Lu clan. He had once pursued Chu Qingyi but was rejected by Chu Qingyi with no hesitation. He was infuriated in his heart and had always wanted to get his hands on Chu Qingyi. Qin Wentian was somewhat taken aback when he heard Chu Qingyi's words. He asked, "Why did you do this?" "Uncle, this matter has nothing to do with Lu Yao. I was the one who asked her for the recover pill. There's no need for you to punish Lu Yao. Mo Xiaoxiao, if you want to do something you can direct it at me. There's no need to act so arrogantly." Chu Qingyi's eyes were cold as she stared at Mo Xiaoxiao. "Father, on what basis?" Lu Yao was unwilling to accept this. Since things have come to this, you can go. Since Holy Maiden Mo Xiaoxiao said that she would make a decision during the birthday banquet, I believe nothing will happen. Lu Zhan spoke. Chu Qingyi nodded her head and spoke to Qin Wentian. You stay here and recuperate well. Wait for my return. Shut up. Lu Zhan berated, his words causing a look of grievance to appear on Lu Yao's face. What else? Mo Xiaoxiao coldly laughed. I've already sent someone to invite her. Lu Feng calmly spoke. Chu Qingyi's expression was extremely unsightly to behold. Seems like this Mo Xiaoxiao has steeled her heart, wanting to blow this matter up and damage her reputation. After all, the two of them were both holy maidens of the Snowdrift Sage Hall. Although they were from the same sect, the competition between them was extremely intense. This Mo Xiaoxiao had always been at odds with her. Uncle, this matter was caused by me and originally had nothing to do with Mo Xiaoxiao. Who would have thought that Mo Xiaoxiao would use this opportunity to make a fuss and intentionally blow things up, implicating Lu Yao? I'm very sorry, I will do my best to salvage the situation. For the next period of time, I'll have to trouble Uncle to help me take care of my friend. Chu Qingyi instructed Lu Zhan. There were still some things she had to do. She had to go and resolve this crisis as well. Mo Xiaoxiao and Lu Feng started when they heard Qin Wentian's words. After that, they laughed as their immortal senses impolitely swept over Qin Wentian. Right now, there was a disciple of the City Lord Manor in the Snowdrift Sage Hall who had a high position. He was an elder of Mo Xiaoxiao's faction, and they had a very good relationship. As for Lu Yao's aunt, she was also in the Snowdrift Sage Hall and was an elder of Chu Qingyi. However, her status wasn't that high. Hence, the City Lord Manor was biased towards Mo Xiaoxiao, while Chu Qingyi had a good relationship with Lu Yao. Lu Zhan glanced at Chu Qingyi before glancing at Lu Yao. He could only sigh. When Lu Zhanfei heard this, his expression turned extremely unsightly. His cold eyes glanced at Qin Wentian as he spoke. You would rather marry a trash than to lower yourself to me. I, Lu Zhanfei, am already trying to break through to the Immortal King realm. How can I not be worthy of you, Chu Qingyi? You will regret this. Qingyi, I initially thought that your standards are very high. To think that you wouldn't even be interested in Leba of the Thunder God Hall. Who would have thought that? Mo Xiaoxiao giggled. Your aura is so weak yet you still dare to speak to me like this? You truly don't know the immensity of the heavens and earth. Qingyi, you are my junior sister. I naturally won't do anything to you. It's just that you are the holy maiden of my Snowdrift Sage Hall. How can I allow you to walk down the wrong path and be infatuated with worldly emotions? You actually didn't mind asking for a grand recovery pill to heal the injuries of such a lecherous character. Emo Xiaoxiao slowly spoke. Junior sister Qingyi, I will naturally report this matter to the Snowdrift Sage Hall. It's still not too late if you make a decision now. Although he was currently extremely weak and his body was heavily injured, a mere Immortal Foundation character actually dared to say that she wanted to kill him? During these days, all of you better keep a close eye on junior sister Qingyi's lover. Don't let him escape. Emo Xiaoxiao coldly commanded. Are you sure about your words? Qin Wentian glanced at Lu Zhanfei. Lu Zhanfei could sense an extraordinary gaze from Qin Wentian, and couldn't help but feel provoked. He coldly replied, You aren't qualified to speak to me. And as expected, not long after, a group of experts arrived. There were even several characters from the older generations, including the elders of the City Lord Manor. Lu Yao's father was here as well. His cultivation base was at the initial stage of the Immortal King realm. When he arrived here, he instantly understood that Lu Yao must have caused trouble. Seems like she must have offended Emo Xiaoxiao. Who would have thought that she would still be embroiled in the battle between Emo Xiaoxiao and Chu Qingyi? This was something he didn't wish to see. When the time comes for the birthday banquet, my martial uncle would definitely return to offer his congratulations. Let's wait for my martial uncle to return and settle this matter at the birthday banquet. Emo Xiaoxiao calmly spoke, her words causing Chu Qingyi's countenance to change. Qin Wentian swept his gaze over as killing intent flashed in his eyes. This person actually wanted Chu Qingyi to kill him to prove her Dao heart? Stepping out, Chu Qingyi arrived before Qin Wentian. She stared at Emo Xiaoxiao and Lu Feng. Emo Xiaoxiao, don't be too impudent. What he said is right. Without using your grand recovery pill, what qualifications do you two have to stand here and speak? After speaking, he coldly snorted and flicked his sleeves as he departed, leaving behind only Lu Yao's father Lu Zhan and his group. Uncle. Chu Qingyi called out to Lu Yao's father. As the sound of her voice faded, her cold eyes swept over the crowd, using a threatening gaze to stare at the elders of the Lu clan. Even if this place was under Emo Xiaoxiao's control, she was still the holy maiden of the Snowdrift Sage Hall. If these people wanted to act against Qin Wentian, they better consider clearly whether they want to endure her anger or not. The birthday banquet of the City Lord is about to arrive, right? Emo Xiaoxiao spoke. A bitter smile appeared on Chu Qingyi's face, but she didn't reply. She merely stared at Emo Xiaoxiao and Lu Zhanfei as she coldly spoke. I borrowed the grand recovery pill from Lu Yao. I will naturally return it to her. This matter has nothing to do with Uncle Lu. I will bear all the consequences. If you want to report this to the Snowdrift Sage Hall, feel free to do so. I will wait for their orders. As for those who dare to touch my friends in front of me, they would be forming a death grudge with me, Chu Qingyi. Holy Maiden Qingyi, Holy Maiden Xiaoxiao. Lu Yao's father Lu Zhan called out. Chapter 1437. Chu Qingyi left. Lu Zhan glanced at Qin Wentian as he sighed and left as well. He was extremely unwilling to be embroiled in the internal conflict of the Snowdrift Sage Hall, but there was no way to avoid it. Qin Wentian calmly watched everything that happened. Although his heart was fluctuating, there weren't too many waves in it. The holy maiden of the Snowdrift Sage Hall, Emo Xiaoxiao, wanted to fight against Chu Qingyi, and she actually chose to use him as the target? This was truly a ridiculous thing. Did she treat him as the breakthrough point for Chu Qingyi? She was destined to be disappointed. What's your relationship with Qingyi? Lu Yao curiously stared at Qin Wentian. From the conversation between Chu Qingyi and Qin Wentian, the two of them didn't seem to be good friends, let alone lovers. On the contrary, there seemed to be some grudge between the two of them. But since this was the case, why did Chu Qingyi not hesitate to ask for a grand recovery pill to save him? There's no relationship at all. Qin Wentian calmly spoke. Lu Yao started. She smiled and shook her head. It's fine if you don't want to say. There's still some time before the birthday banquet. You should recuperate well. Qingyi will think of a way to protect you. Many thanks. Qin Wentian nodded lightly to Lu Yao. This maiden was able to promise to take care of him in such an environment. She was truly a good friend. As for his safety, it wasn't up to others to protect him. The characters he needed to be wary of were immortal emperors, not a mere City Lord Manor. Dongsheng Heaven Emperor had invited an extremely powerful character to act. This was a troublesome matter. Unless there was an extremely powerful character protecting him, he mustn't appear in the line of sight of Dongsheng Heaven Emperor. He mustn't let Dongsheng Heaven Emperor know where he was. For the next period of time, Lu Yao took good care of Qin Wentian. She would often brew some medicinal pills for Qin Wentian to consume. Qin Wentian originally didn't need these, but upon seeing Lu Yao's insistence, he thanked her for her kind intentions and didn't reject her. At the same time, his body was recovering unceasingly, slowly recovering from his injuries. His spirit, qi, and spirit were gradually recovering, and his damaged muscles, bones, meridians, and even his fleshly body were all recovering. Have you gone mad? You are actually still feeding him medicinal pills. Could it be that you don't know the situation we are in now? Lu Yinshua's cultivation base is rumored to have already reached the mid-stage of the Immortal King realm. What cultivation speed is that? Her talent is outstanding and she is highly regarded in the Snowdrift Sage Hall. When she came to attend the birthday banquet, it would surely cause a huge commotion. At that time, experts from Lu Yinshua's faction would be as common as the clouds. Yet, you are still taking care of this young man. That's right, immediately capture him and hand him over to Imo Xiaoxiao. Don't forget about Chu Qingyi. Sounds of quarreling drifted over from outside. Although it was some distance away, Qin Wentian could still hear it. Qin Wentian's immortal sense extended out, and after that, he saw a group of young men from the Lu clan walking over to Lu Yao. All of them had cold expressions on their faces as they berated Lu Yao impolitely. When Qingyi was here, why didn't any of you stand out to speak up? Now that Qingyi has entrusted him to me, you guys actually dare to stand out? Lu Yao stared at the people of the same generation as her. She was so angered that her body trembled. She was truly provoked by the words of these people. Chu Qingyi is the holy maiden of the Snowdrift Sage Hall. We can't clash head-on with her. Now that she has left, maybe she doesn't even intend to care about this anymore. Yet, you guys are still stubbornly standing here. In addition, if we hand Qin Wentian over to Imo Xiaoxiao and Lu Zhanfei, even if Chu Qingyi returns and learns of this, she wouldn't be able to say anything, right? A young woman coldly spoke. That's right, we can express goodwill to Imo Xiaoxiao. After all, in our Lu clan, Imo Xiaoxiao's authority is much greater compared to Chu Qingyi. Someone added. Don't forget what Qingyi said before she left. It's true that you guys want to curry favor with Imo Xiaoxiao, but if you really hand Qin Wentian over to Imo Xiaoxiao, Qingyi will definitely not rest until all of you are dead. You guys better consider the price carefully. Lu Yao's voice grew domineering, extremely cold, causing everyone to start as they hesitated. A young man had an unsightly expression on his face as he spoke. He's just a cripple, yet you still want to protect him? This might even cause our bloodline to be punished by the clan leader. Lu Yao, you truly don't know what's good for you. Lu Yao, in the future, if anything happens to our bloodline, you will be the sinner. A group of people flicked their sleeves and left. Lu Yao was so angry that her chest heaved up and down. She stared at the departing figures, feeling extremely unhappy. A bunch of snobbish people. Lu Yao angrily spoke. Since you already know, why are you still so angry? A voice drifted over. Lu Yao turned her head and saw Qin Wentian walking over. She involuntarily asked, Sir Qin, did you hear everything? Qin Wentian nodded lightly. Don't worry, these matters won't affect me. That's good. Sir Qin is still injured. Please don't be angered or it might affect your recovery. Qingyi handed you over to me. Even if I can't help you fully recover, I definitely won't allow your injuries to worsen. Lu Yao smiled. Qin Wentian walked to the side of Lu Yao and smiled. Lu Yao, do you have any wishes? Why are you asking this? Lu Yao stared at Qin Wentian curiously. You gave me the great recovery pill, and I've said that I will repay your kindness. Naturally, I'll keep my words. However, I don't know what you need. Hence, I'm asking if you have any wishes? Let's see if I can satisfy them. Qin Wentian smiled. Although he would be fine even if he didn't have the great recovery pill, he was someone who could clearly differentiate between gratitude and grudges. The two of them were strangers who met by chance. He naturally had to repay this favor. Lu Yao, on the other hand, started giggling, revealing a hint of simplicity and sunshine. What are you laughing at? Qin Wentian started. I'm laughing at your stupidity. You can't even protect yourself, yet you're still asking me what wishes I have? Could it be that you can help me fulfill them? Lu Yao rolled her eyes at Qin Wentian. Although she didn't believe him, she still gave off a comfortable feeling. I'm stupidity? Black lines appeared on Qin Wentian's forehead. It was very rare for someone to talk to him like this. Isn't that so? Lu Yao smiled mischievously when she saw the awkward expression on Qin Wentian's face. Naturally, my wish is actually very simple. I want to receive more attention from my clan and not be marginalized. However, my talent isn't considered to be at the peak in my clan. Hence, even though my wish is simple, it's actually very difficult. Powerful cultivation arts and innate techniques, alchemy techniques, as well as all sorts of magnificent divine weapons, I'm not fated to obtain them. More importantly, in the future, I won't be able to decide my own marriage. If my clan values me enough, maybe I'll have the right to make my own choice. Lu Yao gazed into the distance as she sighed ruefully. But very quickly, she retracted her gaze and stared at Qin Wentian. Why am I telling you all these? These are all empty words. Don't laugh at me. I won't. Qin Wentian shook his head. Maybe I can really help you fulfill your wishes. Forget it, I'm already satisfied if I can fulfill one or two of them. Lu Yao shook her head. Let's not think about these things for now. Let's get through this crisis first. This time around during the birthday banquet, I'm afraid you won't have a good time. I wonder if Qingyi will be able to think of a solution. I'll be fine. Qin Wentian spoke in a light voice. I hope so. Young Master Qin, quickly recuperate. If you really can't do it, see if you can sneak out. Lu Yao spoke. Qin Wentian didn't say anything else and returned to his room to continue his recovery. His heavily injured body was gradually recovering. As time flowed by, the birthday banquet of City Lord Lu finally arrived. City Lord Lu's birthday banquet was held once every 100 years, and the entire city was in an uproar. Today, the entire Cold Nether Immortal City was in an uproar. Experts from the various major powers arrived and sent their congratulations. There were also many powers who directly left after sending gifts. They didn't even have the qualifications to enter the City Lord Manor. Those who were truly invited to the City Lord Manor all had extraordinary statuses. Today, the vast City Lord Manor was extraordinarily bustling with activity. Only the Lu Yao Manor where Qin Wentian resided was exceptionally quiet. Clearly, the recent incident had affected the City Lord Manor, causing the status of Lu Yao's faction to change. Lu Yao sighed in her heart. Seems like her wish would never be fulfilled. The distance between them grew further and further. At this moment, Qin Wentian walked out of his residence and moved towards the exit of the manor. Halt! Someone blocked Qin Wentian's path as he coldly berated. Qin Wentian furrowed his brows. My freedom is being restricted? You only want to flee now? It's too late. Flee. Qin Wentian stared at the person blocking him. I don't have any grudges with the Lu clan. Does your Lu clan really intend to kill me? That would depend on the City Lord's decision. In any case, before the matter regarding the Grand Recovery Pill is resolved, you are not allowed to take a single step out of here. A person coldly spoke. Qin Wentian smiled. Very good. I'm just afraid that at that time if I don't wish to leave, you guys would beg me to. After speaking, he directly turned and walked back only to see Lu Yao's silhouette flickering over. Her beautiful eyes were filled with anxiety. What's wrong? Qin Wentian asked. Lu Yanxue has arrived and she brought many experts from the Snowdrift Sage Hall with her, including those from the same generation as her. The old man personally went out to welcome them. Lu Yao spoke. She stared at the guards as she coldly spoke. Scram. Are you guys monitoring me? Miss Lu Yao, please forgive us. We are only following orders. One of them coldly laughed, staring at Qin Wentian and Lu Yao with a mocking gaze. There's no need to make things difficult for them. Qin Wentian calmly spoke. Lu Yao's expression was filled with anxiety. At this moment, the sound of whistling wind drifted over from afar. Chu Qingyi has arrived. Lu Yao stared at her with anticipation in her eyes, only to see Chu Qingyi walking over. She stared at Qin Wentian. No matter what, I will protect you no matter what. When Lu Yao heard this, her heart sank unceasingly. Qin Wentian stared at Chu Qingyi's resolute gaze as a smile appeared on his face. Thank you, let's go to the banquet. Chu Qingyi started when she saw the smile on Qin Wentian's face. After that, she solemnly nodded her head. Okay. For this trip to the Snowdrift Sage Hall, her elders told her not to interfere in the matters of the City Lord Manor. This was because Lu Yenshua's status in the Snowdrift Sage Hall was getting higher and higher. At this moment, at the location of the banquet, many experts had already gathered. Their gazes were all fixed in the same direction. City Lord Lu and the other major characters were personally welcoming the guests. Each and every one of them was extraordinary. They soared through the air and flew towards the banquet. Yanshua, you have returned. City Lord Lu happily spoke. I naturally came to congratulate father on his birthday. Lu Yanshua appeared to be over 30 years of age. She was extremely beautiful and exuded an extraordinary aura. She landed on the ground and waved her hands. Yanshua congratulates father on his birthday. Congratulations on City Lord Lu's birthday. Many disciples of the Snowdrift Sage Hall bowed in unison. City Lord Lu had a smile on his face as he spoke. Yanshua, please be seated. Okay. Lu Yanshua nodded lightly. Martial Aunt. Mo Xiaoxiao stood up and called out to Lu Yanshua. Aunt. Lu Zhanfei also called out. Lu Yanshua glanced over and nodded her head to the two of them. Her radiance shone brightly as she directly sat on the host's seat. Many experts stood up and clasped their hands in greeting.